I am here, Ballsy, yes. Hello everybody, it's Ballsy. Today I'm out with another stream. This this one's in particular just kind of more basic because not right now like 2 days ago, I believe it was 2 days ago or three. It was on a Sunday. Yeah, 2 days ago rather. It was on a Sunday where I decided okay, we'll just do a stream, talk about Wire and a little bit of the media, right? And then I'm just thinking okay, because Dave sent two videos about autism YR made, right? So that's where we're starting off with. And here he is right now, Davis Dave Rose. I can do I'm thinking about having people on anyway because I don't know if people are gonna tune in anyway. That's just how I am about it. So they're probably gonna tune in afterwards, supposedly. But what I'm seeing right now, and I'm on the hockey entertainment channel, right? And I'm seeing just about three in total about videos, well, four rather, four videos about autism, I guess. Because the first one I heard was the last one, and it's Joe Cronin's show, monetize this WWE donation AI country music shit. But we'll get to that later. I don't mind somebody coming on anyway, so. Because this is not a premiere. And a premiere would be a lot more planned. This one was planned, just not as much as a premiere would. And this is gonna be pretty basic. It's not gonna take too long when it comes to putting things together. It's okay, it's about autism and shit. Right. And to those who would like to call in and listen to this, you're going to be able to hear this anyway. Got to make sure the volume works on this thing. So, yeah, I hope the volume works. We'll get the volume working. And my audio's hopefully coming through okay. So, this is what we're going to do. I am just going to try to play a song. So, first, let me really check everything as well as to make sure my audio works, because who knows? It's freaking StreamYards. So, there we go. I am live. Yep, we are going just fine. So I have great ways to check my streams. Funny enough, I'm not signed into on my computer, but I'm signed in on my phone. Should probably do that if I want to monitor. Doesn't matter though. So we should start now, and we're gonna play this. We're gonna play the first video, which I'm guessing is also about autism. That's why I said 4. It's called Spectrum Warriors. Okay, because I don't know what else he would be talking about if it's not autistic. But let's play it and see what goes. All right. All right. He wasted no time to just throw it out in this fucking music video. Autistic power, I guess. He wasted no time, I guess, with the fucking wording. Just autistic power, but it's called Spectrum Warriors. So, I mean, does say Spectrum Warriors by Autism, created by YR. I mean, again, what else is he going to talk about in this video? It's pretty straightforward. What? I have to re-listen to that. What the fuck did that AI guy, whatever he is, say? Oh, hold on. What the hell? I gotta listen. Yeah. I don't understand the fucking lyrics here. I guess this autistic gets us more. Yeah, whatever. Dr. YR, paging Dr. YR. We need you down in Pratt to diagnose another possible case of autism. Okay, maybe. I really don't understand what the lyrics are saying. I guess he just decided to make it metal. I tamper with the AI stuff too. Like, it's really hard to replicate. Shut up. It's really hard to replicate metal. But he tried metal and it doesn't really sound that good, to be honest. I really don't understand the lyrics. It's just screaming, but unaudible, it's not verbal. It's not really understandable. I don't understand the lyrics. You can't really hear it. You're not really understanding it. I'm not sure what it's even saying. All I hear is autistic power, autism, and many more. I'm not even sure what he was trying to get at with this. Like, Spectrum Warriors. Like, I guess it's just about being a warrior and you're an autistic warrior. I'm guessing from the song and what the lyrics and the metal in the background, I'm guessing that's what it is. It's not really hinged on anything coherent. It's not a coherent song at all. I don't understand the fucking words or at all. Even if I started understanding it at all, it's like, what? There's no meaning to the song regardless. There's nothing. There's no theme to it. If you wanted to say there was a theme, I guess the only theme is what it fucking says on a thumbnail. Spectrum Warriors, which isn't much anyway. It's nothing. It's a nothing burger. Is this saying YR wants to be an autist? Because I understood those lyrics. Okay, side by side warriors. So is YR wanting to join the Spectrum Warriors or something? And apparently, we know of Spectrum. He knows of the Spectrum Warriors I never heard of before, but apparently they're Spectrum Warriors, and he wants to join it wherever they are. I don't know. Maybe he wants to join the autistic club. Maybe that's what it is. It's maybe it's not because he actually thinks of him as a doctor. Maybe he thinks being autistic is cool. Hey, who knows? We can only guess. Fortify. Okay, so he's going for the interlude. So therefore, he's letting the music play out. Even though the lyrics aren't really coherent anyway, for one. So I'm guessing. So we can make the assumption that okay, Warrior wants to be an autistic warrior, while diagnosing people with autism. Sure. All right. I'm gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna go to my channel. Okay. I want you to listen to the differences. I'm going to play a metal song that I was able to replicate, right? So it's called Mission Unfazed. I want you to hear the differences. Right? All right, so you hear a difference, right? Mine has actual good rhythm. It's not just random metal in the background. It's not just random lyrics. It's solely just music. I didn't have to put music because you can already kind of tell what the theme is anyway by the name alone and what I'm trying to go for. And it will evoke music does evoke feelings to people. This Wire one doesn't really evoke anything. You're more so confused and why he's even talking about autism in his songs, right? Songs portray a message. Songs portray a feeling. What's the feeling in this one? Like, I'm guessing he put a description, Spectrum Warriors, and put metal, and didn't really elaborate in the description if he was doing that at all. I don't think he ever even elaborated what the song should be. The AI only takes what they have information and what you give it and replicate that the best that fucking robot can. And if you can perfect it, you never know. But either way, you notice a difference. You can tune into like any AI song I make versus YR's. Okay, you can pick and choose which one's better if you want. It doesn't matter. I think mine's better overall. He just started doing it because I did it, to be honest. But Spectrum Warriors, I don't know what his new interest is in with autism is outside of the fact that he heard other people talk about it within this fucking YouTube stream, this YouTube bullshit thing, and decided like I can do it too. And that's my guess. We're playing Wire's song still, which is the interlude. Okay, he wants to raise an army of autistic warriors. Okay, I guess that's what he wants to do. He wants to raise an army of autistic warriors. I think I got it down now. I think I get it now. Wire wants to make an army of autistic people. I think. I mean, I don't know. Like, what else am I supposed to think? Is it like supposed to be anything different from that? I don't know. It's over, just about anyway. We'll let it play through. Alright, that's the end of that. Okay, thoughts? Already gave it out. Nothing really to brag about when it comes to this song, honestly. Spectrum Warriors. So great. So we're going to new. Welcome to Spectrum starring Joe Cronin. Apparently he went on the next 3 videos I'll review is basically just Wire accusing Joe Cronin of being autistic now, which is bizarre because this was like after his Spectrum Warriors of what I guess talking about autistic people coming together and having a war or becoming like warriors and taking over shit. I'm guessing he wants to build an autistic warrior thing, and I guess this is his way of recruiting Joe Cronin. I don't know. Come on, play it now. Okay. Picture of Joe Cronin. I don't like looking at Joe Cronin, to be honest. Like, that's just disgusting. Welcome to the Spectrum, starring Joe Cronin. So, is Joe Cronin is Joe Cronin a part of a spectrum? Like, Joe Cronin is diagnosed now? Like, is that a health problem now, Joe Cronin? There's a spectrum called Joe Cronin. Is that what it's saying? I don't know. But it's YR. He wrote it, so maybe he can explain it. I don't know. Late night screen light choosing the zone. Wrestling rings and last off alone. Ears ring loud with words he froze. Truths unscripted on the Joe Show. Okay. There's a voice loud, clear, and bold. Spatial stories that never grow old. Wrestling stories inside unfold. Fights and passion carry us control. Learn about life from lunches and screens. In between the roots and shadow dreams. Okay, but he only mentioned autism several times and shouting autism bullshit. I'm guessing he shouts words that make him autistic, according to YR. Whatever that is, scripted bullshit, and Joe likes it, therefore he's autistic. I don't know. I'm not sure what autism has to do with what the song is talking about, but again, it's YR. I'm not expecting an actual good explanation because he never does have one. So, who knows? Wrestling with real life, ready to begin. Wrestling with real life, ready to begin? What? Huh? Wait. What does that mean? What? Nah. Underdog heroes, villains they strive. Joe's raw voice keeps it alive. Questions and rage, losing the night. Autism strength comes into the light. Signals misunderstood. Autism strength comes into the light. So, wait. Back up. So, him liking WWE and him having fits of rage is autism, according to YR. Okay, that's fine. YR's the expert here, not me. Growing crowd, Joe's heartbeat fierce, Joe's talking proud. Finding solace in that wrestling ring. Autism story, that's what he brings. Learn about life. Autism story, that's what he. When has Joe Cronin ever came out and admitted he's autistic, for one? When has he ever did that? That's the first question. When has Joe Cronin came out and said he's autistic? And what Wire is talking about within the songs doesn't imply autism either. Fits of Rage isn't autistic. Liking pro wrestling and him going off on tangents isn't being autistic. Doesn't mean he's autistic. I don't know where he gets his information from, or why he thinks Joe Cronin having fits of rage and having, I guess, skits and bits and scripted stuff and is meaning he's autistic. I don't know. I'm not sure what that even means exactly. Fits of rage, autism comes to the light. What? Okay. In between the ropes and shadow the trees, shows that my voice is loud in the tin. Wrestling with real life, ready to begin. Oh, that ended quick. Okay, thoughts on song. It didn't have him. Well, it's just basically saying Joe Cronin has a tantrum about pro wrestling of scripted promos, therefore he's autistic, I guess. I guess he's never seen any other YouTuber on talk about pro wrestling or politics at all. Or I guess he's never even talked with Scott anymore. Okay. Yeah, well, that was the Welcome to the Spectrum starring Joe Cronin, because that's Meyer has the credentials to diagnose people with autism. Actually, I want to go look at a video that Wire posted, because he for some reason posted some guy talk about autism and was showing images of Tommy. Nah. Okay, the autistic groove. What is the autistic groove? But that's the next song. I guess that's what we're doing. He made a song about foul-mouthed Ken, and I guess it's praising Ken. But, interesting. But we'll go for the autistic groove. So this is about Joe Cronin and also Tommy. And I'm guessing Wire made this whole fucking autistic bullshit because Tommy went at him on Falmouth Ken's show, and this is Wire's revenge, I guess. Supposedly, I'm only trying to make conclusions and guessing. I'm just guessing, really, but I might be accurate in my guessing. What? Hold on. By the way, Tommy actually looks thin. Huh? So it's about, I guess, Tommy dancing, and also about Joe Cronin. So autism is correlated to dancing, I guess. Meh. Yeah, it's called Autistic Groove because Tommy is dancing. And that's just it. There's no actual point to the song. It's just talking about, hey, Tommy, he's autistic and he's dancing. It must be the Autistic Groove. I'm not sure what Joe Cronin has to do with this. Shout out to the hate watchers, says Dave. Yeah, shout out to the hate watchers. There's no point in this song. Really, there's nothing. It's just, hey, Tommy's dancing. Okay. By the way, what is Tommy trying to do in that video, to be honest? Like, he looks weird doing them dumb dances. Like, what is Tommy doing? Is he like trying to do the Gundam style? Like, Meanwhile, when YR dances, it's with his dick tucked between his legs like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. Oh, I gotta see that. Really? He's actually done that, huh? Well, Tommy dances. I guess it's weird dances, and therefore it's the autistic groove. So if YR actually done what Dave is saying he's actually done, what does that say about YR exactly? What do we call that dance? The fake Christian gay man dance? If it is well, then again, calling him a man is still a compliment. The fake Christian gay dance, I guess. How about that? Nobody needs to see it. I'm still scared. Well, I would definitely kind of give a name to what we can put on YR. Yeah, fake Christian gay dance. We'll say that. Certainly not starting a museum. Yeah. What does a shelf of dildos say about YR? It says, well, Here's my thought. Outside of being gay and a fake Christian, here's what I think it says about him. He's compensating for something. That's what I think. He's certainly compensating for something. Certainly not starting a museum, right? He's certainly not doing that. He is certainly compensating for something that he's missing in his life. So we'll leave it at that. Outside of being a fake Christian and being secretly a gay man, that's all I can come up with. Okay. Just say this though. It is kind of like this is just a hit on Tommy, I guess. The Spectrum Warriors. He wants to raise an army of fucking autistic people. Then it goes to, hey, Joe Cronin is an autist because he rages about pro wrestling, therefore autistic. I guess. And now, oh look, Tommy's dancing. Look at that autistic groove. Because it's funny to him. It's funny to him. I don't know what else to say. It's just funny to him, I guess. And I don't see the comedy into saying autistic groove. I'm not sure what exactly autistic groove means. I guess is whatever Tommy is doing. Trying to do the Gangnam Style, I guess. Like he's just giving a name to a Tommy dance. But then he'll say autistic groove on his last song about Joe Cronin because he's e-begging. What does that fuck? It doesn't really have a meaning. It's just a term, I guess, Wire came up with because maybe he was doing having fun with his AI songs, and one of his country bullshit songs or blues songs or metal songs or whatever hip hop said something about groove, and it was like, oh, that's a good song. Like, wow, I'm gonna use that one. Like, oh, come on, man. Something like that, maybe. Maybe he just liked the word groove and autistic, and he put them together, and voila, that's his creativity. No, seriously, I'm still kind of curious what Tommy is trying to do. My first guess is the Gangnam Style. He does look more thin, but he's not really doing much dancing, just trying to do a certain dance. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. But either way, he seems to be just doing a TikTok dance, I think. I think it's a TikTok dance. And Wire apparently follows Tommy on TikTok, supposedly. I'm only guessing. And he found one of those videos. It's like, I'm going to get my revenge because you went at me on the Ken show. Now I'm going to fucking make a song about you, Tommy, for being an autist. Hey, this is what you get, Tommy. You know what I'm saying? Can I just say, though, it's forgivable seeing this dance than whatever Dave described in the chat. It is more forgivable to see this dance. Like, whatever... Like, compared to YR. YR has a box of fucking dildos in this goddamn closet. He makes moaning sounds on shows, and he's a Christian. I can forgive Tommy doing a dumb dance. And it is freaking cringe seeing it. Tommy doing TikTok dances, it's forgivable compared to YR. And YR's a Christian, mind you. I have to agree with you on YR's reason to retaliate against Tommy. Claims to be Christian. Yep. Yeah, Dave. I know. Like I'm on the money on this when it comes to this. Like if anything, like Tommy has never really shown interest in YR in the first place, as far as my recollection goes. Like I remember a time where YR tried to get Tommy on a show, and Tommy did call in at the time, but only to tell YR, "Hey, stop calling me, asshole!" and then hanged up on him. So I do remember something like that. So Tommy isn't really willing to put up with YR as much as everybody else does. Smartly, but it's more so like he has a lack of patience and just doesn't want to deal with people like that give him a hard time. So it's, for instance, like Bullfrog. A lot of us were willing to deal with Bullfrog. He wasn't. He just didn't have the frickin' patience or the mentality. It's like he was like, fuck that. I ain't talking with him. So I'd say it's the same thing with YR. Like he's just not willing to tolerate a lot of people. So that might make him smarter than a lot of us in that regard. But he's just not tolerable. He's very intolerable. And that's probably a good thing, considering how you're looking at it, right? What is Tommy doing? Like, this is the kind of TikTok dances he does? Like, he's just kind of like trying to do the Gangnam Style, but not doing it right. And it's goofy. It's just very goofy. But at the same time, like I said, it's very forgivable when we're talking about YR. Again, when we're talking about YR, this is what Tommy is doing for a TikTok is forgivable. Some dude just walked by the camera. Seriously? Like, you do realize he's filming. Tommy is filming a dance, and that guy just walked by and looked at the camera like he wanted his fucking 2 seconds spotlight fame. Oh, you guys gotta see this shit. Oh my god. Like, you do realize he's recording, right? Like, oh my god, you're gonna love this. This is stupid. Hold on, let me put on my camera. He just walks by. Dude, he's recording. What are you doing? You fucking idiot. Like, it's okay, like, one, like, it's not like he's in a gym and shit. He's, like, literally recording a video. And that guy just walks by. I'm not... What is he doing? Like, that's just stupid. Like, walk around at least. Like, he literally walked by the camera looking at it. Like, he wanted his, like, 1 second of fame. Congratulations, you got it. You got his TikTok fame. But there we go. Oh, dude, that's just freaking dumb. That's a lot. Just some dude just walked by. Look at the camera for a few seconds. What the hell? Whatever. I guess Tommy shouldn't be recording in public place anyway, but well, then again, it's you can if he wants to. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're recording in a public place, somebody's bound to walk by, I suppose. But the guy literally just walks by near the camera. He didn't just think of walking around. Like, whatever. This song isn't really that good, to be honest. It's just Tommy dancing, really. So Tommy is his content for that time. It's like, look at him, look at this guy dance. He's autistic because he's dancing. You know what I'm saying? It's autistic if you start dancing. It is very autistic. If you're an autist and you dance, you got that autistic root. No, better yet, if you dance, you're an autist. And that's why ours. Diagnostic. If anybody dances on stream and I catch you dancing, you are an autist. You know what I'm saying? You're an autist because I say so. I'm curious what the background. Because more people are shit. And so at time he doesn't care. The head bobbing is actually the best thing about that video, honestly. Your connection is having issues, sounding like a robot. Really? Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. Let me check. Let's check my stream. Hold on. Let me check. I'll check my stream. Hold on. Yeah, it's sounding better, huh? It is probably just the computer then. I don't know. I put it. I'll put my phone closer to my computer so you can hear it better. Hey, I didn't say fall. I said be closer to the computer. Dummy. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, dude. So there we go. Everything should be better. How does it sound now? Autistic groove. I mean, like, because Tommy's dancing, he's autistic, so it's autistic groove. Anyway, does it sound better? Does it sound robotic? Did you say Queen in the song? By the way, what does Joe Cronin have to do with this video? Like, he mentioned Joe Cronin once, and Tommy NC doesn't even go to Joe Cronin's show anymore. What is Tommy doing? Well, that was Autistic Groove by YR. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do I rate that? I don't even think it deserves to be on a scale of 1 to 10 because it's even below 1. So I'll be nice and say it's just below average. I'll be nice. It's not good. It's dumb. It doesn't belong. We don't want to see any more Autistic Grooves anymore. But we got another video to go over. One more. In fact, maybe one more, or maybe Wire's making a new one right now. I don't know. Well, I could go over Skinny Kenny later, but that's if. So let's see it. Joe Cronin's on the screen talking WWE. It's Autism Groove. Now, to him, Autism Groove is now talking about WWE. It's not dancing anymore. Now you're an autist for talking about WWE. I mean, Wire talks WWE. Does that make Wire autistic? I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, you know what? Let's just scroll with it. Sharing stories wild and free. He's got a podcast roll, every fan shouting loud, wrestling tales and art. He draws in quite the crowd. Can I say Autism Groove because he talks about WWE? Spectrum Warriors is Wire basically wanting to create an army of freaking autists. And the other song is Joe Cronin being autist because he's having a rage bitch fit, I guess. And Tommy is autistic because he's dancing. And now Joe Cronin is autistic because he talks WWE. Wire is such a professional. Like, he knows how to diagnose autism. Each donation given keeps the show alive. Joe's a beacon shining where autism thrives. He's got the passion burning, every match discussed, from high-flying moves to the wrestlers we trust. So turn to Joe Cronin, hit that donate sign, for every little bit helps. This went from calling Joe Cronin an autist for talking to WWE to actually promoting him in a song. To keep the show alive, with wrestling love and stories from down deep below. Join the ride and listen to the Joe Cronin Show. Rich, why are calling Joe Cronin an e-beggar? Alright, he's giving it interlude now. This is a country song by AI, and this is called Monetize This WWE Donation. And this seems more like a promotion of Joe Cronin's show rather than an actual song about autism. Or that's, it's not about autism, it's just calling Joe Cronin an autist, then promoting it, then saying, hey, you know, he's an e-beggar. Can we keep to one topic here? Can we, like, if the topic is Joe Cronin is an autist, stick with that topic, right? If the topic is promoting Joe Cronin, then stick to promoting Joe Cronin. Well, then again, this song's promoting Joe Cronin anyway, who cares? But if this song is about Joe Cronin being an e-bagger, which in the background is a bunch of money, then start with the e-bagging. Start with Joe Cronin wanting money. It's not that hard. It's called theming. It's called trying to give a message across. Dumbass. It's not over yet.
Joe Cronin's on the screen talking WWE in his autism group, sharing stories wild.
It's just repeating in a different kind of tone now.
Podcast rolling, every fan shouting loud. Wrestling tales and heart, he draws in quite the crowd. Each donation given keeps the show alive.
It's just saying the same thing. I'm not even sure why he even thought this song would do anything. I guess he just finds it fun. I suppose he just likes the word autism now. I guess he just likes the word autism. So I don't know how many videos he's made about autism with AI. Guessing just 4. Bash WWE Shop Merch Tour Berlin. Linkin Park new singer. And Linkin Park is nothing really without Chester. But there's one about Kenny. There's one about Foulmouth Ken. So let's see this one.
Kenny with the foul mouth turned his life around. Kenny with the foul mouth turned his life around.
Wait, he turned his life around? Like, what, was Ken like down in the dumps and at his lowest or some shit? Like, what is he talking about?
Dropping pounds, he's leaner. Islanders in his sound. Podcast king in the night. Father figure shining bright.
Okay, well, that's just a dead giveaway. Father figure shouting out. I guess Wire needs a father figure. That's his message. Okay, I'm not even gonna listen to the rest of that song. I got all I needed to know from that song alone. Wire needs a father figure. That's it. Well, that's all, I guess. I don't know. Well, we can all conclude that Wire doesn't know what autism is, and he needs to stop talking about it like he does. Like, he's not even the first one to do it, but he does do that a lot. He does like saying things like, yeah, you know, he's autistic, and this guy's autistic. I know how to diagnose autism. Well, I'm just gonna open. Hold on. Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna post the StreamYard's link again. If anybody wants to join, I don't care. But I do have some final thoughts, but maybe some people would like to talk about it. I don't know. You beautiful people would maybe like to talk about it. The stream and the thumbnail is Autistic Rundown. Or maybe some of you are at work and just trying to listen into something, and this is something to listen to. I don't know. And I can still go a bit more. Any thoughts? Any concerns? Any opinions? Well, I'm curious what the chat has to say, honestly. I'm kind of hoping somebody chats their thoughts and gives a funny little statement. Because I already said there's not much to be said about the songs. I already said everything there is to be said about it. Now, as far as YR goes, we've already talked about him having penises in his closet. And somebody joining in now. Welcome to the stage, Dave Rose, the Drama Emperor.
Do you hear me okay?
Absolutely. What's going on?
All right. I was just waiting until you were done reviewing those clips before I called in to give my take. Great stream the other day. Yeah, so basically try to equate it this way, at least. You know how all these blue-haired leftist extreme commies will call anybody, doesn't even matter if they used to consider themselves a liberal, the person they're trying to insult, is that they'll call everybody a Nazi. So it's just like, oh, well, you disagree with me and my stance of letting kids get groomed by drag queens, blah, 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 crazy shit. Well, you must be a Nazi. And like some people are like, I'm a fucking Democrat. I just don't agree with that. No, you're a Nazi. So the same thing with YR is that anybody that he disagrees with or he has an issue with, I mean, you made a great point pointing out the fact that it was retaliation against Tommy. Tommy chose not to involve himself. YR tried to interject, and then, well, YR went off on him. So it's clear that it was retaliation, and that's just how YR does it. He does it all the time with many people. You see the same thing with Joe. Sometimes, I mean, you might as well call YR a gay fish because he's flip-flopping like crazy. One week he likes Joe, one week he doesn't like Joe. 1 week he's trying to promote Joe and be on there. The next week he's making these AI things or putting polls. He did a poll like 2 weeks ago, going back to again proving what kind of character he is who's got the bigger dick, Ken or Joe? And this obsession with, like you said, moaning, dildos, dicks. I think it's quite clear. And using the whole Christian thing as cover might help mitigate that. But I mean, like having a whole bookshelf worth of fucking dildos, I think people can come to their own conclusions on that.
Yeah. But I like what you said about the commie talk when blue-haired feminists like calling you a Nazi. That is kind of that's a trend throughout the world nowadays because it's more so like an intimidation factor as how I see it, because like if you don't agree with me, then you're this.
You're right, because it shuts down the conversation immediately. Just like, oh, you're racist. So basically it just terminates the conversation. They're trying to intimidate you utilizing those words.
Yeah. And the best way to circumvent that, and this is just the way my experience is best in Canary. You can call me anything you want. It doesn't really dispel what I'm saying. Can you address that?
That's the greatest thing is they can call you whatever you want, but they can never call you wrong.
Yeah. So basically, like, that's just how it is. People will call you names. That's just the way it is. And that's kind of, people are childish nowadays. You go to Twitter, people are childish. Like,
you're very
the best thing yeah. I mean, one of the symptoms I kind of noticed is kind of like Peter Pan syndrome, because they have a mind, the minds of a child's like, rather, it's more than Peter Pan syndrome, but that's one of the things I noticed with a lot of people. They'll just lie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They never grow up.
Because, they'll call you names and they'll try to lie about you, slander about you, gossip. It's like they're still in like elementary school. Like, hey, dude, it's real life now. Get out of your basement and touch some grass. Why like I already showed you this because one of the guys that I was arguing with on Twitter I was like, you know what? He made me mad. I'm gonna go call him a pedo. That's how they are. Like they'll lie about you because they didn't have their way. So it's just like
because they can't win the argument using facts and logic. They have to revert to emotionality and lies.
Yeah. And that's been a common trend, like with a lot of people. I've seen this within the community too. People will lie, people will slander, people will make up anything to save their ass. Like, and I've noticed this with too, because like, I noticed with the Joe Cronin, Scott McKinnon, hell, even Bullfrog, and there's a lot of reasons for this. One is that in a public platform like this, they tend to make themselves look bad. But a lot of the times it's not really called out. But when they're put on spot, I'll say this: an emotional reaction, like the mind that says, "Oh shit, danger, danger! I don't want to look bad," so they'll fight tooth and nail to defend themselves. It's something like that, and we can relate to that as a human level. But to go to the extent of lying about other people, I think you're just entering in a stage of like I said, Peter Pan syndrome. But I think it's also like, what would you call it? Pathological lying. Well, we can say that too. Like you're willing to like save your own ass and at the expense of
Yeah,
somebody else's.
I'd have to agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I'm still gonna have to find the proper term, but pathological lying is the best way to put it, in my opinion. But also, Peter Pan syndrome is the better one.
Well, it's a mix. It's a mix of different things.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's just to
Emotionally,
me.
it's the Peter Pan thing, and sort of psychologically, it's the pathology thing. It's the pathological liar mindset.
Yeah, yeah. It's just the way I'm looking at things. And as far as autism goes, I do want to talk about it for a bit because, like, to be quite frank, Wire isn't even the only one that started this whole "hey, people are autistic"
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That term has been thrown around way too often by people who have no qualifications whatsoever to be able to mutter that under their voice, not to mention actually speaking it as if it's true. It's again going back to what's that buzzword nowadays? Oh, autism. Oh, I'm just going to throw it at you because I don't know what it is exactly. I can't diagnose it, but I'm just going to throw it at you because, yeah, it'll shut down conversation.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they look dumber when they use a word they don't know.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this right now. I've explained this like many times even before now, but I'm going to say it again. Autism is harder to study within adults than it is within children. There's a reason why we start with children because, okay, we analyze children behaviors. That's where we start. You can identify like early symptoms within a child, and this has been discussed throughout articles and, well, at least doctors. Now, in my opinion, like there's many definitions of autism, and some of it may not even be qualified to be autistic. It's just human beings in general. But the reason why I say it's easier to study within children because they'll show early symptoms of something abnormal. You're not going to notice that within adults because like adults nowadays are all childish, right? We all have our like spurging out moments, I'll say. We all have an attachment to something. We all have strong feelings about something, right? But a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people try to make that consumption of argument, especially about like Dave Meltzer, for example. But like, I don't even think Dave Meltzer is an autist. Sure, he might be odd at times, but if you look at like people in the political spectrum as well, is like there's people who do weird shit all the time. Like, let's start with Epstein Island, and that's the biggest thing too. Like, to me, like people like to throw autism as a blanket term. They don't actually understand what it means. And at best, if we're describing autism, is probably with people with having trouble with communication skills and a neurological disorder that kind of slows their to say like language barriers. There's language barriers, and they have trouble with language. If I'm trying to boil it down to anything, that's your best conclusion to when it comes to autism. People who struggle with language barriers in communication, and sometimes their brains develop in different ways, and they don't really understand literary devices, so they're going to take some things literal. Sometimes I take things literal. That's the best way to put autism. There's many things describing it, but if I'm giving something a true definition of it, start with what I said. You there, Dave?
Yeah. I thought
Yeah.
you were getting to a point.
Oh, yeah, that was the point. Sorry, I probably should have just ended it with a higher note, I guess. I'm making the point of like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm making the point like autism at best is people who have trouble with language. people who have trouble with communication have not really understanding completely of what a person says because they may not understand the person. It might be a joke or it's a hyperbole or they might take it literal. It's not saying they're dumb. It's just like, oh, in their
Yeah,
heads, it's like,
they certainly don't take social cues, that normal people have, and even body language is. It depends on the severity of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you are correct in that. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's a broad definition because I mean, let's just be honest. YR gets tongue tied just speaking English, which is his own native language, and he can't convey certain points. So I wouldn't chalk that up to autism. I just chalk it up because he's a retard. But
yeah, and this isn't to say you're right, Dave. I wouldn't chalk it up to autism either. So I should also say this. This isn't to say anybody with problems with language at times is autistic. And this is just based on what I know and what I've read, and based on my own experiences. I had to circumvent this and improve that situation. Hell, I get some of my English language from Dave Rose. It's like, oh shit, those are good words. So I'm constantly improving it too. But of course, people are going to say, oh, you're trying to sound like Dave Rose. Oh, shut up. Shut up. I learned something new. We all learn. I'm making the point that if we're going to give a good definition to autism, we'd start there. And it is a blanket term, like you said, and I've said this already too. It's a blanket term. A lot of the things that describe it, you can also describe normal human beings and reactions. That's why it's studied with children, to find anomalies. So
yep.
You can't just be like Bullfrog's autistic. You think being a little asshole, stuck up guy who's egotistical means autistic? Come on, don't fool yourself. And plus, his brother was on and said, no, he's handicapped. He didn't say anything about autism at all. But that's neither here nor there. I'm saying that when people come out and talk about autism, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't. You think you do, but you don't. Autism is a blanket term for many things. And honestly, to me, it sometimes led me to believe it doesn't actually exist because it's like, okay, we just wanted to promote something, right? So we can sell you something for, hey, look, don't call this person retarded. Call them this. It's what do you call it? Politically correct. We'll say that. And I don't agree with him because like autism does not always equate to retardation. And saying somebody's an autist is like what? You can't classify everybody as autistic. It's just not that. It's really not
not
that.
if you're not if you're actually being genuine when it comes to a discussion, but once you start to label everyone autistic that disagrees with you or that you don't like, you lost the plot.
Yeah, and especially if you don't even understand in the first place. I don't know why you're
and it's
saying
supposed to be. It's also being used as an insult. So you have to ask, well, then what's wrong there? I mean, what do you see? Like YR, what do you see that if somebody has autism, they're so bad, or how does that insult apply? Because also you got to question, well, what about Dr. Earl? Why is he even doing a bad impression of him highlighting the autism when he's on a show with Dr. Earl, who's supposed to be his friend? Guys, you don't believe it. We actually met in real life. Like, I've never even done this before on the internet, but we met in real life, and oh God, he was so cool, and he had some nice hair, and he was like so tall and stuff. I had my dad talk to him first just to be sure he was cool before I went up to talk to him. That's true, just like the dance story. Yeah, so it's his friend, and he ridicules him on his show to his virtual face, and then using autism as an insult. Why does he use it as an insult? Why does he think it's so bad? Can he even verbalize that thought?
He hasn't even done that so far. He'll just. This is the YR thing I noticed with him over the time, even before he started using the autism. When he's confronted about something, he gets extremely defensive. I remember this specifically. Like Ken was telling me about this, and this was like early in 2021 when I was kind of new around YR. Ken brought this up to me as just like, hey man, are you actually asking for donations or are you just making a joke? And YR threw a big temper tantrum about that because it was just a question. So YR just had to like, YR will have big fits and call you names, say everything in the book, because to me, it seems like it's a defense mechanism. So it's, like I said, Peter Pan syndrome. So when they're put on the spot, it's like, oh shit, they'll fight tooth and nail to make themselves fight, like defend themselves basically. And that's probably what, that's what led him to bring back Scott McKinnon the first time. If there was other times, I don't know. But yeah, he brought back Scott McKinnon to go against Dave, Ken, and so on. Anybody that was on like that was on like the stream of Power Trip in like 2021. Anybody that was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
What I know about YR is just like he gets very defensive when you bring up anything. He'll even get defensive and sometimes he'll even try to stir the pot with you and try to get you riled up. I noticed that with them too. Hey, Bullsy, stop being retarded. It's like, well, dude, like, shut up. Like he'll try to get you riled up yourself. Like, and if you respond to it and call it out, he'll be like, no, I'm not doing that, but then continue to do it. That's how YR. He'll deny it, but then continue doing the thing he just denied. No, this is not a malicious drama stream. Then continue having a malicious drama stream. Like, who are you trying to fool? Just deny, but then continue doing it. I don't know if you agree with that, Dave, but I think you do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's just how I'm saying it. So a lot of these people, and it's not just YR. I'm going to say C-Man. I'm going to say Scott McKinnon, even Tony. He tried to talk about once upon a time. He tried to talk about autism like he knew. Like, how do you go after he's an autist after shitting on autistic people? Like, nah. Yeah, a lot of people like to virtue signal when it fits their fits their narrative. We'll say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then they'll like shit on the other person for being an autist. Well, gee, I wonder why you're doing that. It's because they want to put themselves in a positive light, and they think, and they're, like I said, Peter Pan syndrome. But at best, that's just all they can do. They're all they can do is insult you, but at the same time, if they got something on you, they're going to try to use it. That's where they're going to lie about you. And then that's what the same people that we've talked about and went after. Yeah, they were always lying about somebody. They were always making up something. They're always saying something that wasn't true. They're always saying this person's this because he said words about them. Or they'll find personal info on you. That's true with literally the leftists as well. Blue-haired leftists, they'll fuck commies too. They're communists at heart. They'll find info on you and be like,
it's perfectly with, again, mob mentality of people who can't even think for themselves. But more importantly is the fact that the whole old saying is, don't attack the messenger, attack the message. But when they can't attack the message because they know you're right, because they know that they can't argue, not just they can't argue with lies, because obviously what you're saying is the truth, but they can't even argue well enough as a human because they get tongue-tied, they get exasperated because they don't know how to express themselves because, again, they're fucking retarded. So what are they left with? Attacking a person. Not the message that they're saying, attacking the person.
Yeah. Can I just talk about how? Yeah. Can I just talk about how like delusional and how dumb they really are? Like, cause like I come across a short like a person asked who they're voting for, Kamala or Trump, and this woman said Kamala. This reporter was like, "Okay, why?" You know what she said?
Oh, I saw that one where she kept going back over that she's a woman, that she's a woman of color, and they kept asking her. But okay, what accomplishments has she made? What policies are it that you're referring to? And she kept on the same NPC mentality, like an automaton, a robot, just repeating the same fucking talking lines that you heard on CNN. And there's multiple videos of that. So not just that one woman, several white women doing exactly the same thing when these people interviewed them. And then try to get them to address, okay, well, what policies, what accomplishments, nothing of substance or value.
Nothing. But okay, I'm going to bring up another report because I came across a short too. Like, this is funny. Like, the short was reviewing to several people. Trump. Some people said Trump gave a reason. Some people said Kamala gave a dumb reason. But either way, one of my favorite ones though was when a reporter said Trump or Kamala, and she was like Kamala, and she was like, "Why?" What she said was fucking hilarious. Like, she was like, "Well, she has an empathetic rhetoric. Literally, an empathetic rhetoric was her answer. That's why she's running for Kamala.
Because that's what you need when it comes to fixing the economy and providing more job opportunities is comfortable rhetoric. Get the fuck out of here.
It's just, I don't understand. Like, how do these people function?
They
Like,
don't.
one
They're
of-
robots. That's basically that's the whole NPC. I don't know if you ever followed the NPC meme that came out, but basically they repeat everything verbatim that they're told on CNN, even when presented with facts that are contrary to what they're trying to push. They just again act in the same sort of robotic manner. They don't think for themselves.
Yeah, and it's funny to me. Like, they don't. The NPC is the best way to describe them. Honestly, like, how else are we going to describe them? Another reporter was asking this person, "Hey, Kamala or Trump?" And he was like, "Kamala, she brought joy to the country." And it's just like, you kidding me? Like, what is he talking about? Like, what are these people talking about? Like, do they just how do you go by day-to-day life thinking the way you do? Like, I honestly couldn't do it myself. Like, I honestly be like, man, I would have to be a depressed dude to be thinking the way they would be doing. There's no way. Like, I guess we got to have stupid people. That's why they exist. Because
I don't think we have to. And in fact, well, the options are very clear, and there are proactive steps that you can take to make sure that your population is more intelligent. But yeah, there are. We don't need a society of stupid people, or even a society with stupid people. We could easily eliminate that. But I mean, it's also the fact that the government does want to make people dumber, and there's a bunch of environmental factors as well, the food. So, I mean, the media. So it's beneficial to have stupid people around. That's why they want so many of them.
Here's my first solution: stop eating fake meats. Stop eating fake meats.
That'll certainly help with health.
Yeah, because like I've like unhealthy people are honestly stupid too. To be honest, like they're just not healthy, and not only they're unhealthy, they're fucking stupid. It's like, dude, like how do you live with yourself like that? To each their own, I guess. I pride myself like exercising every day, even if I don't want to exercise. I exercise. I have the feeling of need to exercise. I eat steak and meat. Well, steak and I drink milk and I eat steak almost every day. Like, to me, like, that's my metabolism. I gotta eat that stuff. To me, that's to remain my health, right? I mean, what's so hard to like keep going to a strict diet at least for like a few weeks or even 3 days? It's not going to hurt you. You're actually going to feel much better. I honestly don't, and that's why I don't really like obese people, to be honest with you. That's why I don't like Golden Corral.
Based.
Yeah. Like, the reason why I don't go to Golden Corral anymore is because the last time I went was a bunch of fucking fat, obese people there racing for type 2 diabetes. Like, I never seen fat people move so fast, for one. And they're going fee, fi, fo, fum. I'm the fattest, laziest bum. It's like, dude, it's like, you're not even at the salad section, which is the cleanest part about the buffet. They're all like clamoring for desserts and freaking processed foods. Like,
well, let me, and that's true. Here's the thing that I've got to mention is that, and I can show you the study. I think I've put it in my super secret Discord. I think under health, the health channel, but basically it shows that if a child is fat or obese as a child, if a person is fat or obese as a child, they're going to grow up with a lower IQ. This is already established. And again, I can show you the study, but it also. I didn't need the study personally because I can see that personally in real life. It's just a simple fact. You do see slower responses, not just physically, but mentally from obese people. You also see a lack of spatial awareness. So, for example, I see this all the fucking time in a grocery aisle. There'll be a fat whale right in the middle with the cart also to the side. So it's just like there's no way to pass them, but they're the ones who's inconveniencing you. There's I just walking through a mall or something that they'll just stop in the middle, and they're so big, they're blocking so much that people have to like literally stop from running into them, sort of thing. There's a lot that really backs up what you're saying, and simple observations are very good to see that with your own eyes.
Yeah, and I thought about like posting my physique every now and then on Twitter. Like, okay, this is a result. So I like look. Like I know I'm not going to motivate a whole lot of people with the following I have, but I have been actually gaining a slow amount of it on Twitter, to be honest. I mean, it's not because of the blue check mark.
If it's,
go on.
I mean, if your motivation is to encourage others, then yeah. If you're just going on there to admire yourself and all that, have this, narcissism, there's too much of that on the internet as it is, and you might as well keep it on TikTok. But no, I know what you're saying. But again, if your motivation is to talk about health, and prove that your current regime of workouts and such and food are working for you, you want to post that up and encourage others to live healthy, that's awesome.
Yeah, and this is just the reason why I'm not saying this, because I just feel the need to do it. That's just one thing. And that's my way to be active. I talked about this before on one stream. I don't know if you've heard it. When somebody tells me, "Oh, I'm going to exercise," I don't believe you will do it. However, it's the non-active part of your life. If you want to do something physical, do something physical. Just do it. That's it. But the reason why I say that is because, like, one, I feel the need to do it because that's just the priorities I set for myself. If I don't do that, then guess what? I become unhealthy at an old age. So I have to do this at a young age. So that way, if it carries out into my old age, I'll still be a pretty lean and pretty healthy guy, especially around age 70. And there's a lot of people who get a heart attack around age 60, but back in the day, people lived past age 80. They were like still healthy. For example, Jack Dempsey at age 70, he was a former boxer. He beat up 3 thugs at age 70 at once. That's how badass he was. But a lot of people were badass at old ages back then. And it's just based on how your health and your regime. So reasons why I want to post that is because it's like, okay, I'm getting a small following anyway, right? I'm getting something out of like not having a blue check mark, but just posting and kind of just arguing with dumbasses anyway, lip turds, or posting something because somebody has a dumb opinion, and there you go. But I really want to post that because, one, I have a strong training regimen. This is what I want to lead to. First, I go to a gym. I start doing some cardio. Then I do a bench, squats, arm curls, right? All 5 each. More like routine squats, right? More curls, push-ups, right? And then after that, in 30 more minutes of workouts, like a long run around the building twice, then 50 push-ups,
Bullseye, you're sounding like a robot again.
Well, okay. Am I sounding better?
Not so much. Yeah, you still got the robotic.
That shouldn't be the case, actually.
Okay, now it's better.
Yeah, so I don't know. When did I start sounding like a robot? Just now?
Literally 10 seconds ago.
So either way, yeah, 60 crunches, 60 bicycles, then 32 diamond push-ups. I do all that because, like, and I'm seeing results that I don't necessarily like, but they're good nonetheless. and it's just been like that's what I've been sticking to, and that's just how it is. And I thought, like, okay, I could just post this and just talk about what I do. And maybe it just makes people look at it and like, oh, I can have that too if he's doing all that. Because it's just the mentality. That's it. And that's why that's just how I am. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm just thinking like, okay, I could just do all that, and I'm a certified autist, so
Again, my thoughts are basically if you're doing it because you want to help out other people, that's great. If you're doing it for narcissistic reasons, at least consider just keeping that on TikTok where all that gay shit goes on. And this desire to be affirmed by strangers rather than on Twitter where you can get people who actually follow you because they're interested in improving their life.
yeah. A lot of people that's in Twitter.
And again, who
and
cares
a
what
lot of
anybody else thinks, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Yeah, but to be honest, like some people are still mad at me on Twitter because I had an argument with them. It's like, dude, get a life. Like I have better things to do.
There's a lot of butthurt people on Twitter. It's part of the fun, actually.
Yeah. And I did go to shit post about like Caliph about her being a fake woman boxer, and I never seen so many people try to prove to me that that is in fact a woman. Well, look at her. He had a bow in her head. See that means.
I'll give you the perfect explanation as to why. Because by doing what you did, you shatter the illusion of the world that they live in, which is that everyone is equal. Okay. Because they try to even equate it to morality, which is not, it's not what people are talking about initially when they start to talk about equality and how forced equality leads to things like DEI and worse. So basically, because if they're forced to realize how what reality truly is, they're going to be forced to acknowledge that men aren't women. Encouraging kids that are under 18 to mutilate themselves in a sex change that is irreversible is bad in many different ways. That people, being fat, for example, is not healthy. All this fat. How people are saying that just criticizing people's weight is fat shaming and stuff. It's like, no, if you take a look at photos of people 30, 40, 50 years ago, you notice a total difference in obesity rates. And we already know obesity rates have literally skyrocketed since basically they started to allow for what's called seed oils and other very toxic things that, oils and such that affect the body's health. Initially, canola oil was just, I believe it's canola oil, but initially proposed just for lubricating engines. But then they decided, we've got an excess, let's sell this to the market. And we've seen how that is actually bad, especially when you heat it. It creates these trans fats, and it's quite bad.
Yeah. But I just saw Wire just go live.
Oh, Wire's live?
Yeah, he just went live. Yeah, it's funny because like I just did a review on him, and now he's like, and it says high definition, high quality videos recorded at live concerts, live professional sports and events, POV, plus one of the first doing live call-in community-based shows for a dead toxic wrestling. I didn't actually click but it's funny because like he said,
are you sure that's live?
He just.
Okay, I'm wondering why it's not showing up on my subscription screen here. Let me just force refresh. I see your stream.
Yeah.
No, I do not. What channel is this? 360? Entertainment 360?
Yeah.
Maybe they got him shadow banned or something. Let me just go to the lives here. No, there's no live going on.
I see the live. I see the live.
And it's live right now.
Yeah. It doesn't say live, but I'm seeing a live. All right, now it's not showing a live. What? I just literally saw the live. What is this thing doing? I could have swore he was live. What the hell?
No idea.
It showed that it was live. I don't want. That's weird.
Okay. If he had indeed. What was the title of the video? Do you remember?
Yeah, no, it was just called gaming channel. I guess that's what it was. That's what I read. And it's funny because like it disappears the moment I start talking about it. So that's interesting. Oh, is YouTube just messing?
I can't confirm it, so I'm not going to speculate.
But no, I saw it
But
again.
it's not the first time that he might take down a stream, that might be reviewed or whatever. Live.
See, look, this is what is showing up on my computer right now. So it's right here. He is live. But I don't know why it's not showing up your end, but he is live. No, I could easily just raid his channel and shit and just talk about how he's a dummy for not knowing what autism is. I could. That'd just be fun anyway. The topic is wire anyway.
No, what he should do is just speak to you on air. See if he can use his great intellect and vocabulary to explain to you why he is the expert in the field when it comes to people in the community.
Well, I do have StreamYards in my channel, and we could do like a cross-stream thing anyway. So
no, well, you encouraged him to do so the other day, so did I, and obviously didn't call in. Now, he's probably scared to even be on the same call as myself. But I'd be willing to jump off if he would have a one-on-one with you. And you could also disconnect me, so it really doesn't matter what my opinion is. If you want to get rid of me to have him on, I mean, if that's the only way to talk to him, okay, why not? It's your show.
Well, if we're calling it out. I guess I could just go in his chat. Hey, I could just ask him to be on my call because I know I know he watched my shit. I know he did. Because it's kind of, so like, all I have to do is like, hey, Wire, I'm live. Come to my stream and we'll talk about autism together.
He won't, because that's the thing. It's not his safe space.
Oh yeah, not his safe space. Well,
it's the same thing with Cronin. He won't go. He won't go on a show or on a call unless he feels he can control
it. That's so funny because like. I've argued with you many, many times on your show and in your Discord. It's just funny. And on my show, on top of that. So it's just like, these same people are willing to talk shit about us, but they need to have their own fucking echo chambers. But meanwhile, we're willing
exactly it's an echo chamber. So they can't, they can't put themselves, because they just can't properly fight. I mean, debate or whatever the case, however you want to label it. It's just like they can't have a proper discussion without breaking down. Yeah.
And I've had like 2 to 3 discussions with Joe Cronin. Last one wasn't really him breaking down anymore because like it's just how it's going to be. And I'm not really expecting, and I've said this before in the last stream I did, like I don't have an issue with Joe. I don't hate him, but I have really no reason to go back to him. And honestly, I'm not interested in whatever he does anyway. It's just, his channel is basically like doomed somewhat, and he would have kept all his fan base if he actually remained good at relationships and didn't do like Vikings would say the fuck games. He probably would have still kept a good relationship with most of his co-hosts. But I've heard about the DMs he sent to people. I've heard about the fights he had with people off air, and guess what? That kind of he did it to himself. He could have kept all of that, but he continued to disrespect some of his co-hosts, and it just makes people go, I don't have to take this. I'm leaving. And it's like, well, these people left because they can't handle it. But the moment he's confronted on it, he needs a whole fucking group of people to pile onto a person to even like avoid getting in a one-on-one confrontation. Or if he is in one, he'll just be like, what do you mean? I don't know. Where am I? Did I fall on the moon? It's like, yeah, that's not something I really want to deal with. It's like that's very disingenuous for him to do, but he'll do it 2 days on end. And it's funny because like some of his fan base was coming to me like, "Hey, come back to Joe Cronen's show, man. Missing some ballsy." It's just like, well, that's interesting. I don't know why Joe would want me back, but then like months later, it's just like, "Oh, fuck you, ballsy." It's like, well, I guess Joe Cronin started telling his audience that I'm a bitch face troll or something. It's just like I can't really win with that guy. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about Joe Cronin anymore. Like, I don't hate him, but there's no really real reason to even want to have anything to do with the guy anymore. It's just like, that's just who he is as a person. Shit on you, then act like he didn't do it at all. Then blame you for shitting on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I unsubscribed from him ages ago. I don't even know. Like sometimes when I'm scrolling through YouTube, where it's like the home thing, where it's like recommended for you, because I look up, some wrestling videos. I wouldn't say a lot, but I do look up other people's opinions and such, or to see how laughable they are. And yeah, some of the stuff does come up, but I purposely don't search the guy out for for what's going on and monetize this or what he thinks is so great about Raw or anything like that. I've seen some videos pop up where he said like the graphic image obviously has words in it, so it's like stupid shit about AEW, which again, I don't think the guy even watches it. I wouldn't know, but I just would guess he doesn't, just from the way that he titles these things as, in criticism to Tony Khan. So yeah.
To be fair with Tony Khan, I don't like the guy, but compared to Triple H, I'd prefer him over Triple H, because Tony Khan is at least like he's a big mark for wrestling. Triple H, on the other hand, he's a sleazeball. He's conniving. He lies a lot about the ratings and shit. He fights tooth and nail, and keep in mind, he'll push his favorites. Like, he plays more favorites than Vince does ever. So Tony Khan is like, hey, he's just a super fan who loves pro wrestling. I don't think he deserves as much shit as he gets. It's just some guy who likes wrestling.
Joe?
No, Tony. No, Tony Khan.
Oh, Tony Khan. Sorry.
He just likes pro wrestling, dude. Like,
I don't even. But that's the thing, though. I don't think that's a valid criticism of AEW. And a lot of people do try to bring it up and try to criticize again, like the whole like, oh, everyone's got autism. It's like, oh, look at him, look at his curly hair and his fucking skinny ass and blah blah blah. It's just like the guy made his own money on his own, and he does have access to big amount of money that his father has and so forth, which I don't think is bad at all, because you've gotten. I mean, Vince McMahon was the same way. He had access to money and such. And established sort of resources, but it's what Tony Khan brings. If you don't like AEW, the wrestling or the characters or the stories, okay, then that's valid criticism. But to be like, I don't like the guy that books it or blah blah blah, it's just like, well, then you're just again not even looking at the product, and it's not even like, this is not how you have a conversation and stuff. It really doesn't matter. I mean. Okay, so certain things do matter about the scumbaggery of WWE covering up human trafficking and sex crimes and all that sort of thing. But more so when you tune into that stuff, if you do, you're supposedly more so interested in the actual storytelling. Because if you want to hear all the dirt about what's really going on with the company, you just fucking read a newspaper, fucking jump on the internet. But if you're tuning into the show, then really who's associated around it isn't really the focal point of the argument. The argument is, okay, well, what has the better wrestling, or what do I enjoy watching more? I think that criticizing those outside of it is not in keeping with the argument about the product itself, not those that run it. But if you want to have a discussion of those that run it, well, then that's a different conversation. But everyone lumps it into like, oh, AEW good. Or AEW bad, WWE good, or it's too simplified. It's too simplified. It's
tribalism. It's more of like a cult thing.
Yeah, absolutely tribalism.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Tony Khan, but being an artist really has nothing to do with it. He's a very successful businessman. He owns part of a football team. I didn't
Fulham.
get the full deep.
The
Huh?
name is Fulham. Fulham FC.
Yeah, he owns part of Fulham SC, and that alone generates a lot of money. So he's making lots of money. He's pretty good at getting. He owns pretty much a lot of things, and he's
really good
making,
at actually establishing relationships with people and financiers to be able to partner up with them. And he's shown that. He established AEW by simply speaking to a television executive. He clearly established that relationship on his own, and was able to provide enough confidence in this person to say, you know what, it is worth the potential risk that was just an absolute flop after 3 episodes. You know what, let's take this risk together. I trust you as a businessman because I see your acumen. And yeah, I believe that this is a good opportunity. And 5 years later, you know, we're about to be hearing, it's rumored to be at least $500 million. But we have to wait. They've been teasing about this for a while, but like we were talking about in the Super Secret Discord, they need to finish the quarter and all that. And also just the change in the way they operate indicates the deal's done. It's just they, due to legal reasons and so forth, all this red tape, they just can't immediately provide a statement, which other companies do in the past, or do all the time, I should say, where they say, okay, this new acquisition, this new partnership, here are the deals of this, here's the actual financial breakdown. And they post that actually sometimes in Forbes, other business magazines, newspapers, and even online. So eventually we're going to get the gist of what this is worth and who's getting what and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, yeah, I don't even know why I got on this topic. Regardless.
This was a good segue because I still kind of find it pretty crazy. Like Tony Khan was able to get, and it doesn't even, there's no statement about like their current contract being torn up or ending at all, because it's supposed to be ending at 2024. But it turns out they're still going to stream at HBO Max, and that's not even within the contract. It's like, holy shit, dude. How do you even how is he even able to get that to happen? So it's just like, yeah, he must have some connections. It has to be that.
And on top of that, the guy's young too, so he's made these connections on his own. And more importantly, is that because he's delivered these connections, continue to have more confidence in him, and want to pursue the business opportunities that could lay ahead. That stuff I think is different from proper criticisms of, say, the booking in AEW, because sometimes I do question it. I've been proven wrong in the past, but that's legit. If you're looking at the product, not the people, the product, and saying, okay, well, those two people going together or going against each other, I don't agree with that, or I don't like that, or can I see another person against that person? Because that's what I really want to see. That's legit. Okay, booking criticism, absolutely legit. You know, like the video game, for example, I am a proponent for it. Is it as good as the 2K series from WWE? No, it's absolutely not. Is it fun to play? Yeah, but it can't be compared. So, but the thing is, though, would I want? I mean, I'm mostly happy with the AEW stuff. The DLC should be way cheaper, and it should have been offered all at once. But okay, would I like to see a WWE sort of 2K style AEW game? Absolutely. I think the next one needs to be bigger, better, and follow the example that WWE has well established for a long time, that this is the game that people want to play. They want to create custom shit. They want to manage storylines and you know, have new characters. And so, yeah, that's a valid criticism of me to Tony. And you know, other people can make these sorts of criticisms, but when it's like, oh, this guy left WWE for AEW sucks. It's like, that's not an argument.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about like the professional wrestling base in general. This guy went here, this guy went there. Who cares where the pro wrestlers go? Are they not allowed to make decisions on their own? Like, why are like the fan base, and a lot of the fan base is just retarded. Like, who are you to decide where somebody goes? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I made comments on posts like that online where it's just like, oh, it's too bad that he actually gets to decide his own future and earn what he feels is his worth and stuff, like sarcastically, because and you see this a lot because you said it, it's tribalism. That okay, they're cool with him, they love him in WWE. He moves to AEW and they absolutely hate him. He was always shit in the first place. I don't know how you got the idea that anyone loved him, but he was always shit, and that's why he went to AEW. It's like, but you and people post like with Ricochet, for example, they post screenshots of one guy loving Ricochet while he's WWE, and then and afterwards when he leaves, they're absolutely shitting on him, and then they confront this person with their conflicting tweets, and the fucking outcome is hilarious because these people are being called out on who they are. They're fakes. They don't like pro wrestling. They don't like sports entertainment. They just like WWE. And that's it. And nothing exists outside of that, because if it does, therefore it must immediately suck. That's how they think.
And to be quite frank with you, I think I've seen that with just in general. But yeah, you're right, because it is tribalistic, and they just want to be the ones to dictate what happens. It's like, you don't run any of the businesses at all. You don't do any of that. I'm not even sure where they get this freaking air of entitlement to even be like, how dare you? You should have stayed. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay, they're doing something they wanted to do. They're making a decision that they think they can benefit from.
You remind me of a good point where people are even criticizing Tony on how he's spending his money. It's like, hey, asshole, it's his money. Let him run it the way he wants. If you could do better, fucking get $1 billion together and fucking put your own shit together. But it's so funny how people will criticize how he's spending his money when it's his fucking money.
Yeah, I've got the same criticisms, by the way, Dave. Like, oh, you're donating bullshit. It's like, shut the fuck up. This has nothing to do with you.
That's a good point. Now, we've seen that a lot in this community, not just with you, but others. But yeah, people get criticized simply just for donating. It's not even agenda-based. It's just like, oh, I like your show. Oh, I like your show. I like your show. Here's some money. No, you can't be donating to certain people. Or how dare you even donate at all, Bullseye? How dare you even flex your muscle that they don't have, clearly, by donating?
Yeah.
That's probably it's probably envy.
Yeah. And honestly, like, that's one thing people at least have to respect Tony Khan, to even be able to gain these connections. And that's one of the things I do like about the guy. If you're able to get so many connections and make so much money off of it, profiting off of it, that's a smart man. Doesn't matter if he's autistic. It's a outlier at that point. I don't know why that's even an argument. It's just stupid. But on top of that, like, people, doesn't matter how Tony Khan spends his money. It's his money, right? And plus, he has that money to spend, unlike anybody else. So I don't know why you're bitching about it. There's many things to criticize Tony Khan for. Money shouldn't even be an issue for him. It's not at all. Dude, he could keep AEW up and float with just the money he's gaining alone. So it's just like, if you want to know why AEW's up at all, it's because of the marketing he was able to use. Okay? It's like he has the money to keep it afloat. He has the money to pay for security, even a gym if you wanted to. Like, what else did the doctors? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like, he has that money to keep afloat, to afford these stadiums. It's like you do realize you're talking to like a billionaire, right? He's a successful billionaire. With people, I don't know why people get mad about spending money. There's many things to criticize him for. Him spending money isn't one of them. He has the money to spend, unlike any of us. So if you think he should be spending money on something else, why don't you start a business, start small, and start working for it instead of bitching about somebody else's money? I don't understand this mentality. Oh, he has much. Okay, you know what? If you think he's doing something wrong, why don't you start working? Put in the effort, because billionaires like that are constantly working their asses off. They don't have time to sit and just relax at times. I don't know why these are the fucking leftist people who agree with socialism. I bet, because they got nothing better to do. Tony Khan earned what he has, regardless of the connections, but he got them on his own. He's a successful businessman on his own, not because of AEW, but because of the connections he has. That's it. Your thoughts, Dave?
No, that's again, it's if people are going to criticize it, it should be for the right reasons, whether it be the product or the person. But just showing their envious nature, you know, when they question how the money is spent and stuff, it's like that's not part of the conversation. Either you're into what's being presented here as wrestling, or you're not. You're not. You got a lot of selection out there, a lot of promotions that you can find what it is that you are looking for. So why are you sticking around here? Fuck off.
Yeah. And Tony Khan, I don't know if Tony Khan actually invested in this, but I guarantee you, like, he can definitely invest if he wanted to. Trainers, and he's already got trainers though, like Billy Gunn.
He does
He's already
have,
got.
he does have trainers. He does have like coaches and such. QT Marshall re-signed with him a little while ago. Well, a while ago, but regardless, he had left and then he came back. And there's a lot of people that again are experienced, but they provide their knowledge to the people. They also provide physical training. They don't have a performance center like WWE, at least not yet, but they do have access to facilities there at the Jaguar Stadium. And again, they have built home names, like Jade Gargill, Hook, who else? There's another name that's on the tip of my tongue, but regardless, they've built homegrown people using the facilities they've got, and that should be considered.
Yeah, it's just all of the funding. So it's how he's spending his money is like, what? Why do you care? Like, that's not really affecting the product, is it? And if it is at all, if it is at all, the first thing I'm going to look at is, okay, what's he investing in? Okay, he's already got trainers. He's already got a facility. He's already got security, right? He's already got a ring. I mean, at that point, I guess he's doing something right when it comes to that. So I'm not sure what else you could criticize the guy over when it comes to money. I think you should people should just lay off the money to the shit. I don't know where people get this arrogance that they can criticize people spending money for. Like, I don't know who you think you are. You don't have billions of dollars. Do you even have thousands of dollars? yeah.
Again,
well, they spend.
It's just a bullshit argument. People who just shouldn't even have an opinion in the first place.
Yeah, I will accept criticism. Like, listen, I agree with criticism. Like, okay, wrestlers do a lot of moves that is dangerous. Okay, I've seen a clip of Will Ospreay taking a DDT off a top rope. Okay, I understand that, and I agree with that. Some things like that don't always need to happen if we're talking like that. But at the same time, things like that always happen in professional wrestling, and WWE has some crazy spots too. Like Zoe Starks, for example, Money in the Bank. It was a complete botch. Like, it's like she tried to kill herself in the match. Like, it was just bad. You remember the Money in the Bank ladder match she had? Like, yeah, there are unsafe people, and there's a lot of injuries. Yes,
it's part of the sport. That's the thing. Yeah, and some people will be like, "Oh, there's so many AEW wrestlers that are injured." It's like, yeah, there's so many more WWE wrestlers injured. But it is what it is, that these people sometimes get hurt. It's not their intention, obviously. And, well, if we can try to ensure that they're being safe enough, because there's always that amount of risk. You remove that risk altogether, all you're doing is having a couple of people play pretend tea time. It's just like, but that's not what people want to see. There's just like even with football or baseball, rugby, there's injuries. There's going to be injuries. So you can either make the whole sport entirely safe and no one has fun and there's nothing being risked. So then what's the point of even competing? Or, you add that aspect and just try to make sure that everyone is as safe as they can be considering the situation.
Yeah. To capitalize on this, yes, I'm all for a more safe place in only doing when moves matter the most, right? Edge talked about this on the podcast. Like, okay, listen, okay, you could save the big moves for pay-per-views, right? And yes, nobody is saying, hey, don't do these big moves at all. Do it when they matter most. That's the argument. But at the end of the day, it is a scripted show, and we do want to be entertained by these personalities and people going out in the ring. They build up to a professional wrestling match, and Dave is right. People are bound to get hurt. Is there a way to prevent that in time to be like, okay, we need to prevent injuries? Sure. But at the end of the day, I don't think we should be just criticizing anybody because they're the ones putting their bodies on the line. And I've seen people make fun of people like Edge for getting hurt, and it's just like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, it's more criticism than it's more actually mocking than criticism. If you're criticizing, okay, we need to find a safer way. Okay, I accept that. But if you're mocking that, it's just like, well, you're not. Are you literally mocking people who are trying to put on a good show, who are putting their necks on the line just so they can have a good match with each other? Like, that's what you're doing? Yeah, that's what they do. Like, they don't think, they just rather mock and just like, I don't know how else to put it. It's disrespectful to the professional wrestlers actually putting effort into it. Okay? It's like, yes, there's injuries. There's going to be injuries. Could more be prevented? Sure, but that's just the way it's gonna be, and nothing else to be said about that. But I've seen people mock the injuries rather than criticize. Like, oh, look, they're injured. Haha. It's like, dude, seriously? Is that what you're doing? They mocked Edge for an injury, or him doing a high spot. Like,
yeah, they wouldn't have done so when he was in WWE. That's just the whole tribalism. Is that they'll anyone who criticizes, the spot that somebody gets injured, how dare you? They put their lives on the line. But as soon as that wrestler leaves and goes to another company, they'll be like, "Ha ha, he deserves it," or fuck this guy, he should retire, or even some dumb people saying he should go home. Anybody that says that on the internet in referencing wrestlers that should go back to AEW are just fucking retarded. Go home. They were on the indies as their home before they went into WWE, so shut the fuck up.
To be fair, WWE became more of an indie fest, to be honest with you. Like, Triple H is the fan of that mark mentality shit. Like, he loves that stuff. The only difference is he wants 5 matches on every pay-per-view, which is like, he's trying to turn Raw and SmackDown to NXT Black and Gold, if you watch that at all. And honestly, it's not going to sell as well as you think it does. Not to mention, going to NXT will destroy, well, not NXT, Netflix will destroy the ratings for Raw. Like, that's not a good thing. The only people only tune in for Netflix to watch fucking anime and shit, or just left-wing bullshit. Nobody actually listens to Netflix. Netflix makes money off of anime. Literally, anything that is from Asia, that's most of its money. Nobody's going to tune in to watch frickin' WWE when they're already subscribed to a program that they watch WWE on. They're going to subscribe to Netflix just to watch WWE? Get the fuck out of here. That's stupid. That's a waste of money. People are nuts. Like, nobody's going to watch WWE on Netflix. Ratings are going to burn down faster than AEW's. People are nuts. They were actually touting that off like that was a big win for WWE, and like, well, they're going that huge Netflix deal for Triple H. First of all, it wasn't Triple H that made that deal. Triple H doesn't even own WWE. You know who made that deal? Nick Khan. He was the one that got that deal with Netflix, not Triple H. It was because Triple H was losing a deal with Fox because he couldn't. Well, not really Triple H, but his job was to keep the ratings up and the flow. His job was to book the shows. Fox cut WWE off because they weren't reaching ad revenue expectations. And now Raw is going from USA Network to Netflix. And like I said, Nick Khan was the one that made that deal, not Triple H. And it's only happening because Raw and SmackDown are losing viewers. losing viewership. Listen, yes, AEW is losing viewership too, but guess what? I'm hoping for a boom, actual boom, but at the end of the day, if we're going to criticize one company for something, I think we should criticize both because guess what? I mean, WWE is kind of losing viewership too. There's no reason for Raw to be under 2 mil, to be honest. There's no reason for it. And SmackDown ratings is being killed faster because of Cody Rhodes. He's not doing a good job as a world champion. And honestly, like
these are things that only you can comment on because I don't watch that product, so I would not know the details of that.
Yeah.
But again, that's the thing, though. I don't watch it, so I'm not going to criticize it. I can state, okay, well, I get enough of what I want from AEW, so there's really no reason for me to tune in to WWE. And that's the end of the conversation right there. So
yeah, that's true.
But I'm not. But again, the point is that I'm not going to criticize WWE as to what they're putting on TV right now because I don't know, and I frankly don't care. So that's the difference between me and these idiots out there. It's just they won't even know what's going on AEW, and they'll still say, "Oh, the show sucked." Well, if you tuned in for that 2-hour show and the first hour was literally fucking an Iron Man match that was fucking one of the best ever at AEW, then you wouldn't be saying that. But you don't watch the product, and therefore you can't criticize it.
Yeah. Well, people, honestly, it's more of a bandwagon, too. It's because, like, I've seen it with a lot of AEW people. Like I haven't seen many people shit on Triple H. More people are shitting on Triple H now, but I think it's more of a bandwagon thing. Don't get me wrong. Tony Khan, in my opinion, Tony Khan isn't a good booker. But I've seen a lot of bandwagon riding, and I've seen
the pay-per-views are definitely proven otherwise, but
who knows? But
I do because I watch the fucking product, man. I stay up to fucking watch those things. Plus, tonight is Dynamite, but yeah, I've watched some of these fucking banger fucking matches, even the ones that he puts out free on TV, and that's a criticism that WWE people have put out who probably don't watch the show, but it's just like, why are you putting out such a great combination or a great match on a weekly TV series and not waiting for a pay-per-view to put it on? It's just like, motherfucker, are you guys suffering from Stockholm syndrome so much that you actually convince yourself that you don't deserve a fucking pay-per-view style match on a free fucking TV show? How can anyone respond to that? Just like you're getting literally a pay-per-view style fucking match, which has you thinking, what the fuck? This is amazing. And you're complaining because it's on fucking cable and not reserved for a fucking pay-per-view that people have to buy? Wow.
Yeah, that is actually interesting because like AEW is heavily wrestling based and they're complaining about a heavily wrestling based show. Like, I mean,
okay, what do you think about this? People also say that the championship titles should not be defended so often on AEW TV and should be reserved. Again, another criticism, reserved for a pay-per-view. Now, that's the total opposite of what WWE does, where I can't remember, I think in 2022, 2023, but how few times Roman Reigns actually defended his title, and yet meanwhile that title reign went on to be a very long time. So it's just like, what, you'd really just not want to see the championship sort of prove that he's good in the ring? You just want him to walk around with 2 titles and not give you, even if it's for a pay-per-view, not give you a fucking match? Like, it's just, the insanity is insane.
To talk. What's up?
No, I repeated myself. My apologies.
Well, to talk. When people say they want to rather see AEW Championship be defended on pay-per-views, or the main title being defended on pay-per-views, what I think they mean is like that's the most important. So therefore, maybe we should have the main guy wrestle less, and because it would feel more special to see him wrestle on a pay-per-view, right? In that retrospect, as far as Roman Reigns go, he was carefully booked throughout like 2020 through 2023 to 2024. He was carefully booked very well, and a lot of the writing came from Paul Heyman, making sure he looks strong and making sure he doesn't look too dumb or weak. and
I have
also
to
making
argue. I have to immediately jump in and argue. Make it more special if it's just a pay-per-view. That's that's the total opposite. Because again, sharing of what it is, because sharing the opportunity for a either somebody at the arena or somebody on TV to witness a championship title free, basically on TV. Is the epitome of fucking special. Like if it's only reserved again, whatever happened to the fighting champion? You know, that if they believe so much in themselves, they're gonna want to keep fighting to prove themselves to be, you know, that fighting champ, that they're worth holding that title because they can face you whether pay-per-view or fucking regular TV or fucking one of these dark matches or even like a house show. You know, and there's been championship defenses at house shows and stuff that haven't aired on TV. And think how special that is for the people there, that they get to witness the opportunity to maybe see those the title change hands. So I think it's the opposite when you do allow that accessibility to viewers to be able to see the championship title being defended, no matter on what avenue that I just mentioned. I think it makes it more special.
I understand that on a perspective because, like, oh, not many people get to witness a championship defense. So if you give that to people now, it feels special. But I'm thinking, but yeah, you're right on that caliber. What I'm just seeing from other people and what you're saying about other people saying they should only be defended on pay-per-views, to them, in my opinion, they're thinking story-wise. Like, to them, they might be like in a story way of building up to a championship defense. Yeah, it will feel that much more special because how rare it is. Like, oh shit, a championship defense. We don't normally see something like that. If we're in, that's what they're saying, and I hope so because like otherwise it wouldn't make much sense, right? I mean, like, for example, actually, the the fighting champion was actually killed on like Raw because like 2023. I don't know if you know this, but I talked about this with Seth Rollins on one of my premieres. Is that Seth Rollins was World Heavyweight Championship, and he was defending it left and right to against anybody, and it was like jobbers to people we don't even know to this, that, and the other. Not only did it kind of kill the World Heavyweight Championship and ruin any kind of prestige for it, but he also got injured in the process twice while holding it. And people didn't. And once he was not champion and off of injury, people weren't even talking about him at all. And the effects of that was because like that World Heavyweight Championship was supposed to feel like a main event level act, and he didn't really do a good job of making it feel that way. It felt like a mid card title. That's what it was. Now, could he have done the fighting champion much better and make it more feel like more of a main event world championship? Sure. But I hinge that on Seth Rollins just choosing only to do the same matches over and over again, doing the same things over and over again. And it didn't really help anybody look forward to it. And that's my take on it. For AEW, maybe it was different, as much respect, but as far as a fighting champion goes, the gimmick, in my opinion, can only take you so far. Unless somebody somehow is just so good that they can always do something different and something unexpected. Who knows? But that's just my take on it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, for the most part, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
But like I said, I do agree with the part like it feels special to an audience because they don't normally get to see a world championship match. Yeah, that I could see that part. In
but
another
again, more so, it's just the criticism. It's just like, dude, you wouldn't last fucking 3 days trying to book a fucking wrestling company. Nobody, like I'm saying, these critics out there, just like they'll criticize somebody, and I guess even in WWE, they'll criticize a booking decision and think they actually know better. It's just like, you have no idea about the industry you claim to do, and you think you could book certain matches, but you clearly couldn't fucking keep up with the grind that would be required to keep things fresh and make you want to tune in. So a lot of people on the internet are basically they're they're spouting this bullshit from their ivory towers, and they don't have experience to address anything. And it's not just wrestling. Literally, it's fucking autism. It's all this other stuff that people who have no qualifications to speak on it, thinking that their opinion matters, basically. And
Yeah,
that's another thing that some people, these leftists, need to realize is no, in a lot of cases, especially with NPCs, your opinion does not matter because your opinion is programmed into you by the mainstream media. You don't have an original thought in your fucking body. So all you're doing is touting fucking lines and repeating them without actually being able to, again, like with Kamala, why would you vote for her type? They can't even verbalize any sort of argument that would justify their position. So their opinions need to be immediately dismissed. They have no value.
Yeah, and before anybody, and somebody probably will, before anybody comes in and be like, well, your two opinions better, keep in mind, we just explained autism on this show perfectly, and by definition too, going off of what we know.
Actually, my opinion does matter. I've already proven this. I mean, if I can prove a certain point wrong, and I do, well, clearly my opinion was more important than the other person's opinion because I used logic and fact to basically prove them wrong. So certainly in that case, it would mean much more, and therefore is better.
Well,
but that's another
like
problem is that when confronted with sort of reality, leftists screech because they can't accept the reality of the situation, or they don't want to. They realize it exists, but if they keep saying the same words over and over again, they think they convince others it's not true. But there is no such thing as equality in fucking nature, nor is there in reality. And when you try to fucking force it, you get DEI and you get Boeing planes falling out of the sky.
Yeah. More importantly, anybody talking about equality, like, no, we want equal pay, equal rights, equal this, equal that. Hey, fun fact, equality talk is commie talk. And the moment you try to push narratives that everybody is equal, you ruin the mystique and you remove differences that actually matter. Guess what? Women are generally weaker than men. That's a fact. Do you know what? Black men.
No, I've heard the media tell me that men are women and that men can have uteruses and tampons are required in men's bathroom and women are just as strong as men. I've heard those things.
Years of biology says otherwise. Years of biology studies.
Yeah, but this is the problem, Bullseye, that the communists have always tried to control academia. And as such, they will actually change biology books. They'll ban books. They'll change biology books so that they'll say that men can be women. They have that control over academia. And they will purposely try to brownwash history and basically change words definitions to fit their argument. This is the commie way. This has been, and this is what's so funny is that, again, if you take a look at it, if you really take a look, communism began to be pushed in the mid to late 1800s in its current form. You have the Bolsheviks taking control of Russia in 1917, but the same strategy has been used countless times. We start to change the definition of words. We start to even legalize what you can say, what you can't say. Look what's going on in England, where if you tweet something that's supposedly mean, it could be factual or not, but if you tweet something that's mean, they'll fucking arrest you. That's how commies work. They've got to silence the discussion. And just like in the novel 1984, which perfectly postulated it, is that they have to tell you, they have to convince you how to think in the party way. And they might know, and you might know that it's wrong, but you have to be intimidated enough to not say a thing because the party is going to deal with you accordingly.
Yeah. And more importantly, why do you want a party to decide whether something's misinformation or not? You want that? Do you really want the political party to decide what's misinformation?
They do. Some people do. Because again, they're NPCs. They rely on the appeal to authority, logical fallacy, and it's hilarious. Well, I trust the drug companies and pharmaceuticals. They wouldn't do anything to hurt me. Yeah, they would. They could say the same thing about the government. It's like, yeah, they would do something to fucking hurt you. There's all these, and they always keep going back. Academia wouldn't lie to me. Well, yeah, they would. So these people keep using the appeal to authority logical fallacy in thinking that there's no reason to think for themselves. The higher ups there, the elites, are going to think for us. So all I got to do is fucking read the headline on in the newspaper, not even read the story to find out that the headline's totally false. We've got thousands of cases of that. Not even fucking investigate stories that are listed, say, on CNN or even Fox. It's like, no, their talking line there of good, this guy good, that person bad. That's good enough for me. I don't have to do any research. I trust these people. The media would never lie to me, would it, Bullseye? The media would never lie to me. So why do I gotta think for myself?
Well, this is why I like talking about like the media, especially when it comes to like sweeping the Trump assassination under the rug. But this is one of my favorite stories too. I remember the media accusing Trump of making fun of a disabled person, which is honestly funny because I've seen Twitter make fun of disabled people all the time. But
it was false. It was another false clip story because they took a clip and supposed to play it as opposed to playing the entire fucking video.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to, because it turns out that the guy wasn't even at all the person he was talking about. But the media decided to be like, no, he was disabled. He was making fun of him for being disabled. But the guy who was reporting it didn't even testify for being disabled or not, nor did he sound disabled. The actively lied about Trump, and this was the things I always talked about when it came to the Trump assassination, was the media was lying about Trump just so they can like push a narrative that was not true about him. This is what they do. Yeah, of course the media would lie. Like, the media was always there.
I got to interject with, I'm glad that you bring that up. I do have to interject. I do apologize, but fact is, I heard this on, I guess, Ken's last stream, that Mellow Yellow was basically trying to push something that had already been proven false years ago about the PP dossier, where Trump apparently went to a fucking a hotel in Russia and peed over a bunch of prostitutes that he hired because that was a bed that listen to this. This is hilarious this is how you know it's fucking false as well, because the amount of effort that was made into the details of this fake story. But he pissed specifically on that bed because apparently years before Obama had actually gone there and slept in that bed to speak to Putin and all that. So this was a somehow fuck you to Obama, but it was also sort of like just the typical degeneracy that apparently comes out of the Trump camp, that, because he's been a playboy and a mogul for the longest time, and yet we don't have any information until he ran for president that he was such a bad person, but they still haven't been able to prove this. Again, pissing on prostitutes, the whole golden shower story that was initially released to try to smear him was proven false because the person that logged it was also connected with the Russia dossier, which was actually again, an FBI agent that was he paid a source for false information and knowing it was false so that he could then provide it to the American media and say, look at this, we've got information of collusion between Trump and Russia, when in fact he knew that the information was falsified from the get-go and just needed to use that so that he could again further try to smear Trump's name.
Yeah, just to talk about this is actually really funny. Like, the first thing you would hear is this, like, Trump peeing on a bed that Obama would sleep in years before. You could already, already know.
You can't stop there, though. We got to make this story so believable by adding the most ludicrous things on top of that. Like, they could have stopped at the peeing on the bed thing, but no, they got to add the prostitutes in there, and it's fucking. That's how you know it's fake. And more importantly is that, again, this guy is obviously a threat to the establishment. So they certainly would have been able to release any videos and shit that they had him compromised on long ago, even before he could have won that first term. Where's the evidence, Hillary? Where's the evidence?
Yeah, I know, right? It seems like the FBI agent just wanted to write a fanfic about how bad Donald Trump was, and there he goes. Like, he was like a big hater for Trump, so he wrote anything that he could think of. So there you go. Like,
that's actually the truth, because multiple allegations against Trump ended up, like, again, that one woman who sued him for rape, the court's document literally showed that he did not rape her. She admitted that he did not rape her. And yet that's the story that still keeps going on. Again, somebody that looks so ugly, when this guy was fucking supermodels And like Trump was literally fucking supermodels. And there's obviously photographic evidence of this, but the one that said that he raped her and all this stuff, she's a typical liberal woman with bangs and like living with cats and fucking screeching about how men are so evil and stuff. It's just like this guy wouldn't have touched her with a 10-foot pole. So it's obvious that it was fucking contrived, and it was pushed because they also changed the law so that they could prosecute and persecute Trump, because this event had happened like after the limitations, the timeline of limitations was over. I can't remember the exact legal term. But yeah, they actually changed the law in New York so that this woman could sue him, which again goes to show that the whole political justice system has been compromised, you know?
Yeah, they go fight tooth and nail just to convict Trump. And by the way, since we're talking about Trump actually raping women,
talking about Mello. We're talking about Mello and how he wanted to dismiss that entirely, and not dismiss it. Sorry, dismiss any possibility that was faked. Although it's on the record that it was faked, and the guy actually the guy eventually did get charged for supplying wrong info, because I guess he made the Democrats look really bad. So basically, he ended up getting fined, charged, jailed. But yeah, it was proven wrong, and it was being pushed by the media as if it was true. And Mello, I know that he knows that it's false, but he kept fucking pushing as if it was true on Ken's show. And it's insane that this shit is not called out on him, and that he does not have his feet held to the fire, because he's I think proud that he voted for Hillary, that he voted for Biden, and although he's not admitting it now, he's probably going to vote Kamala Harris.
Yeah, he probably will. But probably I say. But and to talk about this, like he literally tried to push a story he knew was false, but pretended it was true anyway. Like that's kind of like Scott level dumb shit there, right there. Like, how the hell how do you like make sense of that? Like, why would he even bother trying to do that? Is he not aware how that makes him look? Like, I hope he is.
No, he just hates America that much, because I can't. He would have broken down the whole troll job if that was the case. I don't think he's trolling at all. I think he's quite spiteful of Trump. And again, why would you have chosen Hillary in 2016 over Trump? You already knew the shit that she was involved in. And like, again, the only reason that these people put up when it comes to voting against Trump is that he says mean words. That, again, what did you say? Acceptable rhetoric or comfortable rhetoric? Like that's
acceptable rhetoric.
They can't handle somebody saying mean words. It's if you want to really break it down there. and more importantly, is that people are already sick of politicians giving platitudes, making people feel nice and not delivering and stuff. They want the fucking truth. And again, it's in the past, there were politicians that would speak the truth and would be honest and would be blunt and would convey the message and not try to make people, oh, well, we're in the greatest shape ever. It's like, no, we're in a serious situation. Now, I know that if I get your vote, we can make this better, but let's not pretend that everything is sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. And if we don't do something now, the country is going to suffer even more. There were politicians that spoke like that. And, Trump being honest apparently is not what these NPCs want. They just want to hear the good stuff that comes from the face that smiles and talks nicely on their TV. That's what they want.
Yeah, but on the topic of Mello, like I still gotta like think this through. I don't hate the guy, but when I hear,
I'm not even talking about hate. We're trying to rationalize, or at least put ourselves in the mind of Mello as to what would the justifications be in doing this. And no, I absolutely agree. Please continue with working through the Mello logic.
Okay, so like it's just the dumbest thing to even conclude. Like, for one, saying, "Oh no, him peeing on beds' story is true." Like, what? You serious? Like, okay, if I'm Mello, first of all, honestly, I couldn't really rationalize why you would even want to don't go for Hillary Clinton in the first place. My guess is you listen to CNN and you like CNN and you think they tell you everything is true. Or you listen to MSNBC and you never really did any research in your life and you live in and you think you're in ignorance is bliss, so you're okay with people telling you what to think. I guess that's the only way. You listen to CNN and NBC, that's where you get your information from. They tell you things you like to hear, and therefore you're gonna go with anything they tell you. I suppose. On top of that, a lot of the people that are corporations are Jewish too, so I guess you appeal to those kinds of people. So maybe it's just Mel likes CNN and
Well,
NBC.
yeah, if you're going to talk about the Jewish question there, yeah, when this was brought up on Ken's show about the tunnels underneath, I think it's Brooklyn, and again, there's all this evidence on the internet, that's on video, on TV and stuff, where they were pulling out mattresses that were stained with both shit and blood. Um, Kid high chairs, baby high chairs, little dolls and shit like that. And there was like a whole group of Orthodox Jews that were trying to stop the police from doing so. Ken played that. He talked about it and stuff. And Mello's response was hilarious because it was so telling. He's like, well, it's anti-Semitic to talk about these things. That's not exactly what he said, but he basically insinuated it. He did say anti-Semitic, all because there was multiple videos showing exactly that. And there's one video of an Orthodox Jew climbing out of the sewers. And there's a whole tunnel system. They put several false stories out there to try to not get the investigation into what they were doing. So then they initially said it was a bunch of kids that were just doing it randomly because it was COVID and they were bored. Then they said, oh no, we hired those kids to actually create a crawl space, blah, blah, blah. And, again, the story kept changing and so forth. But I think it's very telling that Mello immediately, once the story was just brought up, and it's important, that he immediately said this is anti-Semitic. Which is the same thing that some people will say when they're somebody criticizes Israel or criticizes the influence that the Israeli political machine has in America with all these super PACs and all that. They'll immediately just say it's anti-Semitic. And meanwhile, there's videos of actual Jews out there saying, yeah, of course we use that word anti-Semitic to shut down conversation. As soon as you use that as a Jew, the conversation ends because you can't be questioned. They actively admit this. So
yeah, not to mention those same Israelis are the same terrorists we're talking about. So it's terrorists, but we don't talk about that.
The point I was just trying to make is that on many cases, whether it be on what happened there in Brooklyn with the tunnels, his voting record for Democrats, and his hate for Trump, it's just like it's never called out and sort of addressed as it should be with detail. It's just like, please explain to us why it's so bad and how you can justify the actions of these people that you fucking supported. It all boils down to, again, orange man bad does mean tweets. Those are the two arguments that it boils down to eventually.
Well, I don't know anything else. Anything if he actually hates Trump. I mean, he admits to not voting for Trump, and he'll be like, "Oh, I admit that was a bad idea." But the only thing
not that he didn't vote for Trump, he voted against Trump. That's what he did. He could have just abstained his vote. It's like, this guy's a clown, but so is the Hillary. But no, it's just like, I've got to vote against Trump because orange man bad. He's got something out against Trump, and it's hilarious because Trump has probably been one of the most supportive, if not the most supportive, people for Israel. Well, George Bush Jr., fair bit. I don't know if it equates with Trump, but still, it was close. So it's like you would think that he would support him, right?
right.
But like again, what's the justification? What's the reasoning? And I don't think he ever has, because he has been asked about it in the past, but I don't think he's ever going to be able to provide any sort of proper argument unless unless what it is that he provides, will eventually get whittled down to Orange Man bad, mean tweets, something like that. He says mean things. I just, I really don't give a shit if my politician's an asshole. Is he getting the job done? Good. I don't care anything else. Does he have a mistress? Maybe he should have two. I don't care. Do the job right and, whatever.
Yeah. On top of that, like, I'm still trying to figure out what goes in the mind of Mello when he says these things. Like, I honestly can't really. I'm drawing a blank still because, like,
I'll tell you what, Ballsy, it's me, YR. I'll tell you what, it's clearly autism. Like, I'm doctor in autism. I got my PhD, and like it's clearly autism. Now I gotta go.
No, Wire, please stay, Wire, because I need to know more. How did you conclude that Mello is an autist? Please explain.
I don't know. I think Dave Rose said it right. I'm kind of scared of Dave Rose. I gotta leave, but yeah, I can't do insults and stuff. I'm too stupid. Bye.
That sums up Wire in a nutshell. But
well, at least he admitted it on air, and he was willing to call in. So,
yeah,
I guess there's baby steps, right?
Yeah, but Mello's still like, I really don't know why that he would say the sort of things he said. I already brought up him saying like things like, "Oh, Jesus used to sleep around with a bunch of women." I brought that up past in my last stream because it was like, there's things I would like to talk to him about, like a full-on conversation. Like, what makes you actually think he has done that? The prophet of God, well, not just a prophet of God, a form of God that shows up and to be a messenger and die for our sins. Like, he wasn't even produced by men. He was just conceived without any like procreation of act. So I really don't understand. He was a messenger, but you're going to claim he's sleeping around with people that are his children. It's kind of blasphemous. Like,
quite actually, but
and I never really got the
people.
Yeah. And it's one thing I still want to talk to him, like a true conversation with him, because like it is.
You should call into Ken's show then, because that guy calls into Ken's show. So you should wait for the point where Wire calls in. He's feeling all comfy. You call in and be like, "Yeah, I've got a few questions for YR." He'll be like, Ken, I gotta go. Bye.
That's funny that you bring that because
and you'll be like, "Was it something I said?" Yeah, and then he'll make a fucking video. Then he'll make a fucking AI video about you.
Yeah, that's funny that you bring it up too, because like once upon a time, I called into Ken's show while Wire was on. The moment I was on the show, Wire left immediately. So it's like,
yes, I do remember that you sent a clip in the super secret server of that moment, and that basically you just called and you made a point to tell us. It's just like, yeah, that's kind of weird. I just call in and then boom, he leaves. That was quite comical. And very telling, Wire. Very telling with your conduct.
Yeah, and that's the same guy that was telling me afterwards, like after shitting on me this whole time when Scott was around, then he turns around and be like, "Hey, Bully, call into my show. Let's talk." Like, what is it with the flip flop? You hated my guts. Like, what's going on here? Like, honestly, like I think he knew I would have talked about something with him, or he thought I would. But that's beside the point. I still would like to talk to Mello about what he thinks of Christ.
You should. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, I only got talk to him like twice about it, and it's not really.
I do have to. I just remembered, but that's something that I found extremely offensive. Actually, no, not offensive, but more so. How can I put this? Blasphemous. Obviously, it's blasphemous because he wouldn't tolerate, that sort of thing about Judaism. But some of the shit that he says has been, again, very, very directed at Christianity and Christians. Certainly heretical, and some people would certainly. I'm not just talking about myself, but there's other people around the world that if you do that sort of thing, you're going to get at least bitch slapped in the face, if not worse. And it's because, again, people hold their faith strongly to them. And to say these things certainly shouldn't be overlooked. I'm glad that you brought that up because I sort of put that on the side of my mind. But I do remember multiple times, and the last time that again, the one that you're highlighting right now, but I do remember the last time. But it's just like, and first of all, not being called out for it. And more importantly, is just like, this guy couldn't hold up an argument if you were to bring it up and try to discuss that sort of blasphemy, really.
Yeah, but the problem is that there's only like twice we almost did try to talk about it. And I was asking him, like, well, what do you think of Jesus, Mello? He's like, oh, I think he's all right. I think he's all right. So it's like, I really want to ask him, what makes him say that Jesus sleeps around with women? Like the guy who claims that these are his children would sleep around with a bunch of women.
No, but it's the way he also put it together. I can't remember what the rationale was, but it was something along the lines like, oh fuck, I don't remember. But I just, first of all, the rationale and logic was wrong. Scripturally it was wrong, but more importantly is that it just seemed more of an attack rather than anything that was based on facts. So he couldn't. I can't remember if somebody was on the call asking him to back it up, like, where did you get that information? But like, he never did provide it. Just can't like randomly say this is the truth. It's like, what's your source? Just trust me. No, I certainly don't trust you, Mello.
Yeah, I think it's just that I don't think it's actually hinged on anything. Jesus sleeping around with women. I think it's just like one of those talking points. I think he just heard from somewhere, and he thinks it's true.
No, it's purposeful.
You think?
But that's another thing is that we go back to some people who have the confidence, strangely enough, to talk about a topic like they're a fucking expert, say on autism, just as an example. But we know that they're not. What do you bring to the table? Any fucking college degrees, any experience or anything to be able to say, I speak as an authority on this? And if anyone tries to reverse that on me, it's just like, yeah, I can prove I'm an authority on stuff. I also prove that my tendency to actually read and learn is not, an inhibition. Some people, again, keep using these terms. I don't like to read. So you're basically just saying you like to be retarded. Is that what you're saying? You're not even going to discipline yourself. And this is what also going to what you're saying. Great transitions here. But Bullseye, people are lazy. Fucking, if you don't have the discipline to work out or fucking read, then what are you worth, right? I mean, you gotta force yourself. And you can't just say, "Oh, I don't like to read." It's just like, well, maybe you're doing it wrong, because reading is fucking awesome. Reading is great. Learning is great. But if you find it, I've always said this is criticism of Joe, even on his show. If you don't like reading, you're doing something wrong. And he'll try to. He doesn't have autism, but he claims he's got ADD and ADHD. Those are totally misdiagnosed things by doctors to sell more drugs, basically. And he'll say, oh, I can't read because of my ADD, ADHD. No, bullshit. You're just fucking lazy.
Actually, to counter the ADD, to counter the ADD thing, it's not an excuse either. Just because you can't pay attention to certain things does not mean you can't read. Of course you can do it.
Use it as a crutch. It's like, oh, well, you got to excuse me. I have this crutch that I lean on. I don't need to. My legs are perfectly fine, but I'm just going to use this crutch.
Yeah, I need just give me some slack, man. I have a thing that makes me feel better or something like that. Honestly, like, let me just say this. I don't care if somebody has ADD. Like, it doesn't really exist anyway, in my opinion. Especially when you go, like, there's ways to actually, like, learn. Everybody learns differently. And I say this, not everybody's going to be able to learn if you put them in one classroom and sit them down and have somebody talk at them for an hour. It's just not going to work. Okay, it never worked for me. It's not working for anybody else. That being said, Joe Cronin could read. He can read. It doesn't matter if he has ADD. That's not an excuse. It really only takes one Google search. One. Just type random letters into anything and read about something. It really isn't that hard. He's just choosing not to do it because he simply doesn't want to do it at all. He doesn't want to put the effort in to make his show, or at least get the intellectual knowledge to do it. He'd just rather have others do it for him. That's what I noticed from him. But he watches wrestling though. So there you go. He can talk about pro wrestling, but he can't talk about politics because this is how he is. He
should be barred from that. In fact, it should be illegal for him to talk politics. Another person who is incapable of meeting me, even on neutral ground, to have a proper debate on things, because they realize they realize who they're getting in the ring with. Simple fact. But those that can't face you based on what you're speaking will always attack you as the person and not the message. So it's quite telling. It's also an automatic win.
Yeah, I don't think Joe actually has ADD, but if anyone wanted to say he has ADD at all, I mean, the first thought is, okay.
Again, it's no excuse. It's just don't be a fucking lazy ass bastard. Okay, read a fucking book, touch some grass. That's what humans used to do before they were fucking retarded.
Yeah, but better yet, you have a computer at your disposal. What is stopping you from reading?
I've made this explanation on my show multiple times. It's you don't even have a reason to misspell, because spell check is installed on everything these days. But more importantly, is in an age of ignorance. Sorry, my bad. In an age of information, ignorance is an excuse. Which I've on my shows have talked about the fact that literally you have a phone that even 10 years ago you couldn't dream of, that you just literally speak to. You speak to saying, hey, what is the definition of this word? And boom, instantly you have access to that fucking information. So not learning in this day and age is lazy and indicative of someone who is stupid and willfully ignorant. There's three different things, but they need to be addressed and they need to be shamed, because there's no fucking excuse.
Well, just to say this, most of the information I have and most of the information I learned came from out of school. And it's pretty easy to learn everything just if you actually put in the effort. If you spend 30 minutes just reading, for instance, let's just say, we just talked about autism. If you spend at least 30 minutes reading about autism, you'll actually know what it is. Wire can't do that. And I've seen other people not be able to do that. It's is it really that hard to pull up an article and just spend at least a good 10 minutes on getting a good idea what it is? Why is it so hard? I don't understand.
Because they lack discipline.
Okay, that's true.
What it is they lack discipline.
Yeah, you have the internet at your disposal. How about you educate yourself first before you start educating others? If you can call it educating at this point. To me, it's just insulting to try to talk about things you don't understand, but then try to come out like you're an expert at it. It's just you've only known it. You've only started just talking about it now. What makes you think you know it more than I do? It's so bizarre, especially when you got people online nowadays. Well, they'll try to correct you on. Go on. You there?
No, I was just gonna. Yeah, I'm here. Now I forget what I was saying, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but
I know that much.
Yeah, it's insulting for people to come on here and talk about things they don't understand. It's just okay, well, if I'm going to correct you on something, I'm going to correct you on something. Okay, then you're wrong on this. It's like, how dare you? I'm this. I'm retarded. This and that. Okay, calling me a retard doesn't really prove me wrong, does it? It doesn't. It's just you throwing out a cop out and an insult because you don't want to have an actual intelligent and actual honest discussion. And I've showed you some screenshots of the people I've argued with before, especially on Discord. Like one of these examples was Ethan Heim about violating HIV, which he actually didn't do because it was about the hospital in Texas providing gender affirming care to kids illegally when it was already sent a law that can't do that. But guess what? They instead took time for sharing a a patient's medical record when he didn't even share any patient medical records at all. He shared information about hospital providing gender affirming care when they were not supposed to. He was a whistleblower. You know what?
Because again, you challenge their narrative, because their narrative is basically that gender affirming care is good. And when you challenge that, they can't live in the reality of the world. So you've got to keep up the fantasy of the insulated echo culture world that they've created. And that's encouraged by both the media and, certain politicians for them to live in. They can't, and not only that, it's not like they can go on their lives and be like, oh, yeah, there's people criticize, like normal people. Oh, there's people criticizing me left and right. That's perfectly fine. I'm sound of mind. I know what I'm deciding is correct. So there's really no issue. It's like, no, I've got to be obsessed with what other people think about me. We've seen this in the community in the past. And if they have an opinion, I can't allow that. Because that then shatters the illusion that not only I live in, but the one that I try to put up.
The one I try to I want my own bubble and my own safe space. And anybody that says it's bad, they're bad people.
But it goes further than that. It's not that I should have my own delusion and reality in my own safe space. It's beyond that safe space. Nobody can even criticize me. Nobody can say shit about me because they're wrong, and I need to live in my safe space, but I can't allow anybody else to say anything about me outside of my safe space.
Yeah, and that's why they watch every single thing that any strain, like to make sure nobody's saying anything about it. Is he saying something about me? I got to respond to it.
Yep.
That's what. Like, everybody's going to have criticisms. Everybody's going to say something. I said this before. I get the dumbest, and I mean the dumbest. Sure, some people get dumb, but I get the dumbest. One of them is just, oh, you're trying to sound like Dave Rose. I'm not, but okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, what they mean by that, again, that's, I guess Dave Rose is supposed to be an insult, but again, what they mean is that you sound eloquent and capable. Really, is again, what else could they be saying? It's like, oh, you're trying to sound like Dave Rose. You mean like using normal words, not broken down words for the fucking dumb fucks in this community to be able to understand, because some of them only understand grunts and shit. No, it's actually talking like you normally would. Because again, I don't know if maybe it's not normal for them. I don't give a fuck, to be quite honest. But the point is, if they just live around a fucking trailer park or some ghetto ass area and they've never been exposed to or ignored the lessons in school and learned how to speak properly, it's not my fault that I'm speaking normally, and they're the ones who sound like fucking troglodytes. But that's what it is. Again, it's envy and jealousy because of the fact that this is how I speak. This is normal. So it's hilarious that people many have criticized me in the past. You're trying to sound smart. It's like, you talk to me offline, this is how I speak. So there is no trying to pretend, because there's no reason for me to pretend. I am who I am. And that's another thing. These individuals try to hide themselves or who they are. They're too scared. They can't fucking, like YR does not want to just come out and be like, look, I'm gay. He's lying to himself, and he's lying to people who watch him. And he continues to perpetuate that sort of lie. And that's just one of many people. But that's a great example. Please continue.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's another thing. Like, that's another criticism I got too. Oh, you're trying to sound smart. I'm just like, dude, it doesn't matter how I'm trying to sound, first of all. Two, it doesn't really prove what I'm saying is wrong. Okay.
That's another great point. But again, the whole thing is, it's like, what reference do they have? You're trying to sound smart. So you're responding to something and proving, whatever issue you're discussing false and you're postulating truthful statements that are factually backed up and stuff, is that trying to sound smart, just being normal, just trying to say, no, what you're saying is wrong and let me prove it and here's the evidence? That's wrong.
Yeah, apparently, according to them. No, stop trying to prove me wrong. You're trying to sound smart.
No,
That's how.
right. That's what I meant. But again, and what is sounding smart? Because there's certain things that I can't discuss, like advanced physics or fucking, I don't know, oceanography, whatever. I'm not trying to sound smart. I speak about what I do know, and if I end up sounding smart in your eyes, well, maybe I am smart compared to you. That's another thing. It's just like that's the. I'm glad that we're here. We're doing a great show. But this whole thing where these people are forced to realize equality doesn't exist. So, and like I've always said, there's always somebody that's better at something than you are. Whether you know something or it's something that you know nothing about. Like, I mean, I know some stuff about plumbing. Okay. I can learn things off the internet. I can read books and, learn about plumbing as well. I don't have fucking 35 years experience like plumbers do. So I'm certainly not going to criticize them, talk over their shoulder while they're working at my house, fixing something and say, oh, well, you should do this. I know better than you do. It's that sort of mentality that I'm addressing, is that a lot of these people just don't have any experience in a topic, but they speak to it as an authority. And yet when you prove yourself to be an authority in that, they take that as an insult.
Well, to be honest with you, like, people, for some odd reason, our existence insults people anyways. Like, we show up, it's like,
the greatest feeling. I love it. I personally love it.
Honestly, it's a funny feeling too. So like, wait a minute, why are you so mad? Like, for instance, like, I show up in a chat, Scott McKinney gets mad. Like, well, why are you making it? Dude, get a life. What are you doing?
It's just with Paul 3 is that apparently he really hates me. He showed this, or he revealed this, I should say, on that interview he had with Paul 3. And the whole reason that he hates me is apparently, again, after my 15th sail away, I guess, or something, I was in his Discord, and so was Paul 3. And he ended up Cronin ended up choosing me to connect to the call rather than Paul 3, even though Paul 3 had been waiting for hours or something like that. And I think I had just jumped on or something like that. So he took that personally. And he said that he really hates me on that interview with Wire, which is I find hilarious. But, when you start to learn about the guy, he even said, I think on that same video, that he doesn't get involved with politics. All he wants is to have a fun time and to play music and stuff. That's fucking hippy dippy, commie shit. It's like, you don't care about politics, but, you're perfectly fine with what's going on in your country and stuff because you just want to play music and get high and shit. It's just like, come on. But no, it's just funny that he, again, for Cronin's decision of adding me on and just, again, trying to sound smart, the arrogance, he really hates me, which I find hilarious. Personally, it gives me joy to know that there is somebody out there that really fucking despises me. And there are several people out there that really hate my guts. I don't even think about them at all, but just to know that they exist and that they've expressed themselves in the past, and I've got the screenshots and so forth, it's just like, you guys don't know how much this does for me. It's just so beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. And like, if Paul 3 is going to be mad about like a Discord, like, honestly, do something.
I mean, it was his choice to choose me over him.
Like, what do you want Dave to do? Like, it's just you weren't.
Luke Rojas was also very mad at me. He became Joe's Cronin's pet, and I remember he made a video like 3-4 years ago after the last time I left Joe, and it was the last time I said so, and it was done. but he's like, yeah, I bet you're going to be back in a couple of months. And he just went into me for quite a while and stuff. And it was just hilarious. But yeah, Luke Rojas certainly has shown that, he likes Joe. And he's willing to fight off anybody else that might try to get close to Joe. But we've seen that in the past, though. There's been other co-hosts, not even co-hosts, I'd say more interlopers. I guess this guy is a co-host now, but interlopers in the past that we've seen on Joe's channel and such have really sort of come in, try to like establish a name for themselves, like Jacob RP, for example. That's just one example. And then they fail miserably, they look bad, and then they just start to attack everyone that's fucking in Joe's chat or fucking attacking that they're donating and stuff. They're interlopers. They're not really meant to be there. And that's at least how fucking Rojas started. But that's Joe values.
Yeah, honestly, like that's kind of another thing. Like these same people like criticize people for being in chats. Like that's another criticism I get. I'm in chats. Like literally, I got criticism for just being in chats. It's like, well, you're in this chat. Like, why do you care? Like there's one call specifically where I remember where RP and I were talking, and like RP was like, well, why are you in people's chats? And like, why do you care? Like it's like, oh, I see you in chat, so everybody's chat. Like, you should stop. Like, I would be criticized if I wasn't in chats at the time. So, what do you care? So it's weird because, like, and that's another thing. Like, I was also criticized for not being in chats. I was criticized for being in chats, and I was criticized for not being in chats. And I'm just sitting there like, I can't win with you people. Like, I can't. Like, you guys just really have it out for me. I know that's how people are. Like they'll bitch about anything, and the funny thing is that speaking of Luke Rojas, he hasn't criticized me at all. But I remember at the time where I was talking with Joe Cronin Mountain at his him versus the world stream. In his Discord, he types, "Well, I wish I was on the call, so I'd go after bulls. I'd tear him up." He says some of the lines like that, and I'm just like, "Okay, son. Okay, kid. Whatever you say." Like, but yeah, those are like the chatting thing was another thing I was getting criticized for. It's like, I mean, it affects your life that I'm in chats, like, or not in chats at all. What's the deal there? I never seen people some bitch about so many things at once. So it's like, dudes, like, move on. Like we'd rather do something else. Maybe we don't want to be there anymore. Like the people that are concerned about the community are the ones like concerned about people in chats, concerned about who goes who and who goes where. Meanwhile, we're just trying to be like, okay, we'll do a stream together. Why not? Meanwhile, other people will be like, oh, they're streaming together and bitch about that for like 5 hours. It's like, I mean, don't you got something better to do than just bitch about people doing whatever they want? I don't know. Like, those people will complain about anything, and I guess they're just mad about the fact that we can do what we want, and they're unable to get what they want. I don't know. Maybe they're just freaking sad losers. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the deal is with them. Right?
They're sad losers is basically what it is. They live off the successes or failures, I guess, of other people. They're everywhere because nobody wants them around, so they've got to change account names and all that sort of thing. Use fake accounts to at least watch and potentially interact. But this has been an example for the longest time. Like SE Steve is the greatest example because he'll go to other communities, he'll get the balls to actually introduce himself, like with this whole Arturo thing. Then he gets found out, and they literally like disconnect him from the call and then castigate him on the video and like block him in the chat and just totally just threw him away. And this guy's going to, a couple months ago, YR, he was on YR show and he talked about this, where he was hanging out in Tommy C's chat or video. And Tommy C hasn't been, again, he was part of the community, I guess. I don't know if you could still call him that. But regardless, he made a video where Tommy C was criticizing Ken. And bottom line is that SE Steve tried to bring it up on YR show just to try to stir shit. So
yeah. So him just being in a chat and SE Steve tried to call it out and just to stir shit. Yeah. Well, that sounds like him.
Yeah, but that's he does that everywhere, regardless if he uses his real name, and he tries not to, and then he uses different images. He thinks it's a joke. He thinks he's actually clever. And he won't feel very clever when somebody's hands come across his throat. That's it's really as simple as that. And he's always thought that he's untouchable in this community. But when you start to discuss this with him, even on a show, he gets very defensive. And we've seen this in the past. But that's so telling of his mindset. When Shaft was again talking about this on Nikki's show, fucking SC got really mad, and he was part of a chat, I believe. But regardless, is that when Shaft mentioned that he had family living in South Jersey, SC lost it. And because SC works at the Hostess factory and he lives fairly nearby. But yeah, he just doesn't like the fact that when people do what he does to others, the fake is exposed. What can I say?
Yeah, well, I've talked about this in the past, and I remember back then when he was actually calling out. Well, yeah, he was calling out YR for using a fake ID, and it was Keith's mother, and Keith's mother came out and was like, "Oh, no, that's not true. It wasn't YR who used my ID. He didn't fraud me." And
yeah, I do remember that, actually.
Yeah, and after that, Steve was streaming along with Tony, and they were like, "Oh, Keith's mother clarified it wasn't YR. It was YR. Smarten up." It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, you just got confirmation it wasn't YR. And now they're just running with it like it's still true. Like, what the fuck is going on? They're very SC Steve was, and honestly, it was starting with SC Steve who was saying that, and I was like, dude, that's messed up. What are you doing that? And I called him a whore for that, and his response was, "Oh, you're a denthead." Oh, you certainly proved me wrong there. Call me a denthead will not change the fact that you were lying about YR and slandering him, okay? And it's funny because that's the same guy YR put on anyway. And then again, YR is kind of like that guy who will put on his old enemies that used to be his friends, even though they're the same people that threatened him. But they're like, I'll put him on anyway. And just to go against somebody else. I don't know. And that's how YR is. I don't think YR isn't very smart when it comes to his association.
But he is astute. Okay, so he's dumb, but not that dumb would be the best way to explain it, because he knows what he's doing. Okay, and some of these things are very astute because he has certain plans, and like I said, puppet master confirmed. He knows how to manipulate people, not just with words, but with platitudes and such. And he's got a lot of people wrapped around his finger. Simple fact. Because he tries to appear non-threatening. Meanwhile, in the background, the guy continues to associate with the people that he does, although he claims he doesn't, or has a fight back and forth, blah, 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 with somebody who's already a scumbag and should never be associated with ever again. And the whole pattern continues over and fucking over again.
Yeah.
And yet people still don't learn from that, which is amazing, because you've got a pattern that's close to 10 years old, and you'd have to be, even Stevie Wonder would be able to see it. So let's stop fucking kidding ourselves here. It's a choice. People are choosing to associate with YR, knowing what he's done. So
Yeah,
nobody
just
can justify it.
yeah. I'm just still looking through YR's channel, and I don't see the live anymore. So I guess he just went off live or that, because I was seeing a gaming channel that was live. But this is funny because, like,
Has he even gamed on his channel?
I don't know. I haven't really got to check overall. But I remember seeing in the Discord where Tiff posted about Paul 3 having a meltdown. And I caught where the part where, like, Paul 3 for some odd reason says, I'm a Howard Stern fan, a longtime Howard Stern fan. I'm just like, what the fuck is a fan of Howard Stern? Like, what the hell? Like, nobody likes the guy's irrelevant. Who likes Howard Stern anymore? Like, who? Where did that come from? But according to him, well, yeah, he said things like, "Oh, I have radio training or something like that." He used to do broadcasting and stuff, and he's good at radio talk shows, and apparently he's been entertaining. And my thoughts was like, okay, so what the fuck is he doing there exactly? Like, what the fuck did he want to be on Joe Cronen's show? If he's so good, why isn't he creating his own podcast and doing this stuff? Like, what's stopping him from doing that if he's so good? You know, you'll eventually gain a following if you really are that good, right? So what's stopping him from doing that? I don't know why he has to be on.
Sort of tried and failed.
What's up?
I'd say he tried and failed, but I'd say he tried and failed.
All right. Well, it depends what you think failing is. Oh yeah, I actually just never mind. That's funny because now I'm seeing a stream of him saying Junebug his thoughts in 2024 one-on-one interview. Apparently he did an interview with. Yeah. That was 3 months.
Did you not see the date underneath it when it was streamed?
Yeah, it was 3 months ago actually. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, Paul 3 saying like he's worked with radio and broadcasting, but I don't really see him doing radio broadcasting. He's not really doing anything that would require like a broadcast or any radio show. Music.
Well, I don't know if I don't know how far he went with it, but if you're a musician, you are going to want that. Or, you could benefit from it because it would allow you to understand, radio and even audio levels and such, and to be able to produce and get in, that way if you want to get into radio. So I wouldn't count it outside of the realm of logic to get something like that if you're into music.
Perhaps, but but I don't know if Paul 3 actually said he was into music, did he? Well, then again, you did just.
The guy plays in a band, dude. Yeah, I think he kind of is into music. He plays in a band. He's even going on about how much they got. I think there's it's a 5-person set, but we got paid X amount. I think it was a couple of grand or something. Doesn't sound that much between 5 people, but regardless, he's talked about how much he loves music and that again, like. What else can I say? He's talked about this on the YR interview and on other shows. So
he apparently also did an interview with Carlos. Well, he didn't do an interview, but apparently while Paul 3 was on the call, apparently Carlos Cabral was on the call. I'm seeing him in a thumbnail. Like, they still associate with this dude? Like, okay,
they do.
Like, I remember like Carlos Cabral coming to me like in Skype and was like, "Yo, Belling, how's it going?" I'm like, "Who are you?" He says his voice is so high pitched. Dude, that's so funny. Like the way he sounds like he's just got kicked in the nuts or some shit. Like the fact that he was able to get his voice that high is amazing to me. Yeah, but I've said everything I wanted to say. I guess I could do more YR reviews. It's not like he's gonna come out and do more videos. But I am curious about what this he said in the Music Maniacs and shit.
Yeah, you should check it out. In fact, almost every episode you'll find him making fun of Dr. Earl to his face with the autism bullshit. But they do like to swerve from music talk to drama, or at least I should say YR likes to steer the conversation towards drama during a music show and stuff. So again, YR he loves that drama, although he'll claim he doesn't.
Well, the funny thing is, this is 2 weeks old, and I'm pretty sure Music Maniacs Greg Keen died in '75, and it's an hour 20 long. But considering that Pole 3 and Carlos Cabral is on, it's going to be something funny.
Also, somebody else that ruins it is Prince Idol. Yeah, that's his forgettable name. Adds nothing. It's a shit show there, Earl. I used to like it when it was him, Earl, Arcnolia, and sometimes YR. But they kept it on track because they were talking about music and shit. And it's just having anybody else on top of that, especially of those people that have been on the show, Paul 3, what's his name? Carlos Cabral. Who was the other one?
Paul 3?
No, Paul 3, Carlos Cabral. I think there was somebody else that they had on there that should have been on there. But regardless, it's just like, oh, well, they had RP on there. They've also had SC Steve. Prince Idol. That's the one I was trying to remember. Prince Idol brings nothing. It just ruins the show. And it's just really, when you bring those guys together, the conversation, because YR forces it, steers towards drama and not actually the topic at hand, which is supposed to be music, right? We see this every fucking time.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up. Then the topic is supposed to be about music, but then YR wants to talk about drama. Huh.
Every single fucking time. Let's not fucking delude ourselves. It's still out there, and YR might take him down from his channels, but you know that you've got fucking Dr. Earl with his on there because.
Well, you still there, Dave? Right? You kind of cut out, but yeah, I might check it out a bit, but in 3 hours and 4 minutes is quite a big time.
Actually,
cutting out, Dave.
Or multicast, whatever.
Yeah, you keep cutting out, Dave. What's going on?
I should be okay now. I don't know. It's probably the internet.
Yeah, but you've been fine on my end.
On the 8th.
Yeah, but you've been fine you've been fine so far, Dave. So it's just starts cutting off now. I don't know why.
Like I said, I've got to rewire my house, and at least that'll have the landline internet working. But I should be able to stream from my phone very soon. Well, on the 8th. So at that point, I have no worries about how long I stream, because I've got more than enough gigs per month to be able to stream directly from my computer, because I'll just hook the phone right up to it. So it should, I don't need to use a phone to transmit. I prefer the computer. But yeah, it should all be gravy at that point. And then we're going to hear a few things from Dave Rose.
Yeah. So I think we went good hours. 3 hours and 5 minutes is a long.
It was a great show. Actually, I'm going to definitely listen back to it. Huge replay value. And yeah, I do appreciate you having me on to address a plethora of topics. We certainly did discuss a wide array of them. But certainly a show to stand proud for.
Yeah. Yeah. So any last words before I end the stream?
I question YR in several different ways. We made them very clear on this show. Especially the whole SC Steve thing. To continue to associate with that guy it's just like, you can't trust them. You can't trust YR because that's a great example of how he's willing to associate with people who has in the past tried to hurt other people. So to associate with him is very questionable. And if you get offended for me pointing this out, then I ask you, what's your dog in the fight? Because it's not justifiable. So I look forward to any potential responses to that question. So on that note, I'll let you wrap it up on your own. Thank you so much for having me on your show, and we shall speak soon.
All right. Thank you, Dave. That was Dave Rose, everybody. All right. We covered a great deal of things. The first hour is us covering who I are. That is the best part. Everything else is just nice conversations and epic, more cool. I would just say content. But either way, we talked about many deal things. Reviewed why our stream or videos of AI music that are terrible. He should just quit while he's at it. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Bullseye is ending this. Bye-bye.